Studios and another edition of the Weekly Video Recap.
Then that's my cue to start the show. Welcome to another edition of the Hard Rockin' Sports Show, live from High Top Hard Rockin' Sports Studios in beautiful, scenic Monroe, New Jersey. Welcome to our 2-hour weekly get-together where we bring you all the biggest news from around the worlds of hard rock, heavy metal, of course, the wide world of sports. Guys, welcome to Thursday night. A little volume up on my headset. That's right, Thursday night, August the 22nd in the year of our good Lord, 2024. Hey, guys, I hope you had a great week. It's not quite the end of summer. We got about a month for the official end of summer, but the unofficial end is in about 2 weeks. That's right, 2 weeks. Actually, less. Actually, I'm going to say that again. We're a week and a day or two from Labor Day weekend, and another summer is slipping by, and certainly in my life. I hope you guys have enjoyed yourself and had a great summer. But with football's around the corner, that signifies to me the start of fall, even though it's mid-September before it's officially fall. The weather's getting a little nicer. We've had some cooler days, still kicking around the 90s a couple times this week. So, but it's hot here in the upper Northeast, and of course, we happy to do another show tonight. So it's still kind of the tweener. We got a lot of baseball to talk about tonight. We got the Yankees and the Little League World Series. We got the Little League World Series itself. We'll talk some football, Jets and Giants. We'll talk. Let's see what else I got. Judge, Jake Paul, and Mike Tyson. Bad start for Danny Dimes. Jets are underdogs in week 1. We'll talk about Hassan Reddick asked for a trade. Haven't even heard his name in a week. Aaron Rodgers, a distraction. Algerian boxer files a complaint over abuse claims. Lots to talk about tonight. Hope you guys have had a great week. It's been it's for me for the last 2 years. When you get that everyday thing, like you're so busy or it's repetition and you have 50 things to do. I've had that. I'm telling you guys, I am not, I don't know, use the word brag. Brag's the wrong thing. I don't want to sound like I'm boasting, like I was still so busy every day. You don't understand. I have a job where I'm very busy. I have a lot of responsibility. But the last week or two, it's starting to dwindle. And I wake up every day thinking I have a million things to do, and I don't. And I don't like it. I like being busy. I like having my day filled. It's nice to catch the break. I have to be honest. I like to catch the break a little bit here. Give my brain a chance to kind of slow down, take a break, not have things so. But it takes a lot of getting used to. When you do something every single day and you got 7, 8 different jobs going on and multiple people calling you, and there's 300 guys to worry about and all the stuff that goes with that. I tell you, it takes a little getting used to not being that busy right now. So I don't like it, but I kind of need it. So hopefully it won't last long. It's good to catch a breath. So I'm catching my breath right now. In the meantime, it's nice to hear from you guys and see you guys out there watching us. So thank you for tuning in. Let's talk. Let's do it. I said I'm going to do it, and you guys could tune in at 7:10 if you want and not hear it. I don't care. I am going to do 10 minutes at least every night, every Thursday night about politics. And again, do the homework. If you think you want to vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, by all means. Yeah, that's your God-given right in this country. I just say do the homework. Go and figure out, 4 years ago, she said one thing and she says a totally different thing now. I didn't watch much of the DNC. I've watched some of the coverage, but I've watched it because I like to find both sides. I want to hear what both teams have to say because that's the only way to know. If I listen to just Fox, I'm getting most of a slant. If I listen to all CNN or MSNBC, I'm getting most of their slant. If you listen to both, you kind of catch the middle and you kind of go, oh, I see what they're talking about. Oh, why didn't they mention this? And you kind of piece the puzzle together. That's me. I read the Post every day. I'm online. I read some liberal regs and stuff. But what I'm getting at is I caught part of Tim Walz's speech. And I'm not kidding you guys. And this is no joke. He lied through the whole thing. He did. He said Trump wants to ban abortions. Never been said. Trump basically said, hey, the federal government should have no say in what happens with abortions. He said, it belongs at the states. The states should vote for it. If they want it, they can put in whatever rules they want. And that's it. He said the federal government should not wave their magic wand and say abortions are good or abortions are bad. And I agree. The federal government should be in less. So that was one thing he came that I thought was egregious. He was talking about this Project 2025. Project 2025 is a group of people who came together and created these very conservative values on gun rights, on this. And some of it's not bad, but a lot of it's very extreme. Donald Trump and J.D. Vance have had absolute no involvement in it. And when I say this to you guys is because I listen to all of Trump's speeches. I've heard him tell things every week. And the one thing you could say about Trump, and I'm sorry, you tell me he's a liar, he's this and that. I really don't care. When the guy says I'm going to do something, he did it. When he says I'm not going to do something, he doesn't do it. That's the one thing about him that I liked as a president. There's a few things, but that's one of the major things. He said, hey, I'm going to go in, I'm going to drill. I'm going to stop people coming across the border. I'm going to be tougher on the people around the world and make sure they pay their money to us. And he did it. You can hate him, he's got all he wants. The problem I have with the Dems is they lie. You had Michelle Obama talking about how her mom and dad didn't like people who took too much. Did she tell her parents about the $12 million house in California, the $8 million house in Hawaii, the $8 million house in Washington, D.C.? So she's up there railing that Donald Trump has too much, and I don't see them giving it back. I didn't see them saying, hey, one modest house in Chicago is enough. So they speak with forked tongue. So like I said, guys, what I've seen from Kamala Harris, price gouging, as she called it, and they want to regulate, has never worked. Even the Republicans tried to regulate prices for food and goods and through Richard Nixon, and it didn't work. Venezuela basically went out of business because of it. The Russians tried it in the late 80s. What she's proposing for an economic policy does not work. We have a thing called capitalism here. And if people want to charge a crazy amount of money for something, that's their God-given right. You don't have to buy it. That's your God-given right. And there are laws against monopolies. Like I have a big problem with the cable companies because in my area, I can only get one cable system. So it's a monopoly to me. But I can go out and do other things. I can have a Fire Stick. I could stream now. There are other options. But for a lot of years, there was no options. Monopolies are not good. The NFL was considered a monopoly. They waved the magic wand over it. But you have the option of not supporting it. That is, yeah, I agree. Hey, my cousin Leonard out there. Yeah, to me, all I'm saying is know the policy. Forget about personalities. Forget about, I hate Trump. He's a blowhard. Yeah, of course he is. Let me tell you something. Anybody who runs for mayor, for governor, for president of the United States, they're blowhards, they're narcissistic, every one of them. You don't think you could be the most important person in your city, state, or country and not have a high opinion of yourself and want to hear everything you say. There hasn't been a humble guy in office ever. You can tell me anything about Jimmy Carter. I've watched stuff on Jimmy Carter. He was hated by the Secret Service. They hated his guts. He was so arrogant and nasty. But he came across as the humble peanut farmer. He was horrendous. Ask anybody who grew up in the 70s or lived through the 70s. They will tell you he was horrendous. So I don't care about their personalities. I want to know policy. I want to know, is Kamala Harris for or against fracking and drilling in this country? 4 years ago, she was against it. Now she might be for it. 4 years ago, she said she wanted to take away your health care. Right? 4 years ago, that's what she said. It's all on the internet. Go look it up. I'm not making it up. She said, I want to take away your health care. Now she's saying, well, I don't think I meant that. Oh, you said it. You voted for it. She's a socialist. And her partner, Mr. Tim Walz, the governor of California, of Minnesota, is worse. So please, I'm just going to do this every week. I'm going to spend 10 minutes because it's important. If you see the way things are going now, do you think it's going to get better? They just put out a fake job report. Now, I won't say it's fake. They make adjustments to the job reports every year. They go, okay, we told you it was 1 million. It was actually 800,000. They actually told you in the last year they made 2 million and change worth of new jobs. They missed it. They were off by 800,000 jobs. Now, come on, folks. You tell me. They're normally off 30, 40, 50, 100,000. They were off 800,000, nearly 1 million jobs. They say they created, they didn't. So come on, folks. Pay attention. All I'm telling you is vote for whoever you want. That's your God-given right, and I would absolutely help you fight for that right to vote for whoever you want, even if I thought it was the wrong person. But all I say is do your due diligence. Learn what both candidates have to say. Follow their record. You know, the one thing I'll end this with is the Democrats keep talking about looking to the future. Forget about the past, because her past is this past. Like they're trying to run this like Donald Trump is the incumbent. He's in office, and they're trying to fix his problems. No, Donald Trump hasn't been president for 3.5, coming up on 4 years. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden were and are in office. What you're going through right now is a direct result of what they believe. She made it very clear. She's been in the room for all the big decisions. She was the last person in the room. So whether or not she voted for it or agreed with it, she came out of there saying, I'm with Joe. You have to live with that. That is your record. If anybody goes to the gas pumps and sees $3-something, we were paying close to $4 for a while. Inflation hit 9%. Now it's 3%. Yeah, you're great. It was 1.4 when Donald Trump left office, and that's with COVID. So, folks, pay attention. And you can say, "Oh, well, I like them." Yeah, great. Vote for them because you like them. Go food shop every week and tell me what you're spending. Go fill up your gas tank and tell me what you're spending. Go into these liberal cities. By the way, she started bail funds for all these people. So all the BLM rioters, she got them out of jail. She helped get all the rioters from the summer who are against Israel in all these college campuses. She helped get them out. Folks, wake up. Just do your homework. If you do that homework and you still say, I can vote for her, God bless you. Vote for her. That's your God-given right. But don't just go by what CNN or Channel 7 or whoever you watch tells you, because they're not giving you the full story. They're not. They showed it on TV today. This whole big jobs report that failed, and they came out and changed it by almost 1 million different less jobs. CBS and NBC didn't cover it at all, and ABC gave it 20 seconds. Folks, they told you they made 2 million jobs over the last year. They made 1 million and change. Folks, that's a big difference. So not only did the Dems lie, hey, David Bruns, how you doing, buddy? Not only do the Democrats lie, but the media covers for them because the news you watch doesn't give you the full story. Turn on Fox for a half hour, an hour a day. You know, catch Brett Baier. It's not opinion. He just gives you fact. You know, don't have to watch the Greg Gutfelds or the Sean Hannitys. I get it. Those guys are over the top sometimes. Watch the guys who just report the news. 9 o'clock in the morning, Bill Hammer, Dana Perino. Watch them. They just give you the facts. It's not a lot of opinion. They bring people in, Republicans, Democrats, independents, and they talk to them. Do yourself a favor. Watch a little bit of that stuff. Thank you, Mr. Finelli. But if you don't do that, and you just walk in and go, well, I think Kamala Harris is a change. She's not a change. She's a change from herself. She's been vice president for almost 4 years. What you're living through is what she did, and her policies are actually worse than his. She's been on record. She's been on record as saying she wants to kill fracking. She doesn't want to drill. Now she came out and said, "Well, I think I want to frack." Well, wait a minute. Which one is it? So not only do you lie, but now you're going to step up in front of me and tell me you're not lying. And at least 30 days she's been in this position to run. 30 days. We haven't heard from her once. Yeah, she does speeches. She hasn't answered a question. She hasn't stood up in front of somebody and said, "This is why I changed my mind." Oh, maybe 4 years ago she thought one thing about fracking. Today she goes, "Hey, I didn't realize being vice president of the United States, I didn't realize how important this was." Okay, tell us what you think. But they're hiding her. It's the same thing they did to Joe Biden during COVID. Hit him in the basement. Well, with her, it's too late. It's last minute. She's busy. Give her a chance. Dude, it's 30 days. It don't take long to jump in front of a microphone for an hour at any point in the last 30 days. So for me, she's a bad candidate, but go vote for who you want. So that's my time. I've doubled I went to 7:16. We got to get to sports and music before I lose everybody. But I will do this every Thursday night. So if you don't want to hear it, tune in to 7:15. If you want to hear it, great. If you agree with me, I'm fine. If you disagree, that's fine too. Let me know you disagree. Tell me why you disagree. I don't mind the debate. I don't have it all right. I don't know if everything I believe is correct. I don't mind people correcting me and saying, "Hey, you're wrong on that. You're wrong on this." Hey, that's what life's about, learning. But I at least do the due diligence, and that's all I beg. I beg people to do. People, my friends, family, I work with, when they bring it up, all I say is, make sure you know who you're voting for. That when you look up a year from now or 2 years from now, you don't go, "I didn't know that was the case," because the news doesn't give you everything. Go explore other places. Go on the internet. Do what you have to do. All I'm telling you is, do your due diligence. Do your homework. And then if you want to vote for Robert Kennedy, who, by the way, might be endorsing Trump and joining his team, we'll see how that works out tomorrow, or Kamala Harris or Donald Trump, that's fine. Just don't tell me it's about a personality. Tell me you found out about what they're about, because everybody told me with Joe Biden, it's Joe Biden. I don't care. I just hate Trump. Well, let me tell you something, guys. Compare 3 years of Trump to the 4 years you've had now, and tell me which one was better. Better gas prices, better food prices, better around the world. We were safer. I'm sorry. This is a big time in our life. And if we get stuck for 4 more years of this socialist bullshit, I'm not sure where we go. And I'm seeing the effect at work. Nobody's bidding work there. Everybody's terrified of this election. Nobody's bidding work right now. It is a slowdown in my industry that everybody's feeling, because everybody's scared of this election. And what she's talking about raising the corporate tax to 35 or 45%. Trump loaded from 28 to 21. Businesses were spending money, hiring people. Now you're going to raise the tax rate. They're going to not hire people. They're not going to build. And they're going to wait it out for 4 years until she's gone, because she will be gone, because people will see what the destruction she does. Guys, that's it. Jeff just popped up. Let me get him on board. Let's get going on the show. I thank you all for tuning in. Again, whether you disagree or you agree with me, I'm happy you're listening. And by the way, I'm happy for all the David Birds and Finelli. Thank you. Leonard, as always, she said if Trump's never said he's going to be a dictator. The comment was, "I'll be dictator on day one. I'll close the border." That's it. So, but again, they take sound bites and they lie to you. Please do your homework. All right, so let's get the show started again. We're here at the Hard Rocket Sports Show. I'm about to bring on my buddy, 40 years and plus, the sexiest man on his side of the screen, Mr. Jeff Tomwinski. What's up, Hefe?
Not much, man. What's going on?
Not much, pal. How's things in the Tomwinski house?
Running a little slow tonight, but
oh yeah,
we're moving in the right direction, I guess, right?
All right, that's good to hear. Let's get it going. I got a lot of baseball for you tonight. I know you've been up on the baseball because you're in the middle of your PlayStation 5 baseball league now season.
Yeah, but that's just what it is. PlayStation 5 baseball.
That's okay. I'm gonna stick to baseball at you. My dad's gonna be there. We're gonna get my dad right on as soon as we do our thing. But Jeff, we got a lot to talk about. Football season's 2 weeks away. We got some final exhibition games coming up tonight and this weekend. So I'm gonna get your take on that. There was a wrestling thing that we wanted to talk about, and I can't open the post, so you might have to help me with that one. And
remind me. I know it's been a while, right?
yeah, August the 17th on our Facebook Messenger, I sent you something, and you commented that let's bring this up Thursday night, but I can't for some reason open it. So maybe
I'll
you
have
can.
to look.
All right. So, but Jeff, in the meantime, Jeff, how was your week?
Pretty long, but it's over, thank God.
Okay, so regular days off, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah, waiting for my 35-second weekend to fly by.
Yeah, that's the killer. Yeah, I was off today. I had to help my take my mom and dad somewhere, so I did the day off today. I haven't had one in a while.
I'm sorry, just see, it was the one of the Wild Samoans died.
Oh, okay. So we'll bring that up, and you said you want to tie it into something, so we'll do that shortly. But right now, let's get my pops on. Let's see what he's got to say, and let's kick the show off and see what we got to talk about. What's up, Pop?
What's up, Ray? You got me off center.
Hey, there you go. It's all you. I don't move any cameras, Pop. So if you're off center, you're off center. There you go.
That's all. You don't need to see the head. That's all.
What's up, Pop?
So I was watching. I didn't get a chance to watch the game today, but Judge hit another home run at 48.
Yeah, he had two last night, and then and hit another one today. Hit a nice shot today, and they won. It was 6-0 when I shut it off in the 8th inning.
That was the final score.
Yeah, it was. They played well. I mean, Stanton hit a home run, the straightaway center. I would have swore popped up the second base the way he hit it. He was so at it, like it was so off the end of the bat.
That was all power.
Oh my God!
Power.
But
he actually laid on the ball.
Yeah,
he didn't swing at it.
Yeah, it was a bad. It was
almost like a check
bad
swing.
Yeah, listen.
That's how powerful he was.
If he gets hot, it's up there, Frank Jeffrey. If he gets going, it only helps. But this team still has so many issues. But you know what? That is every team in the American League and in baseball have warts. There's not a team out there right now that you could say to me is the favorite. I know that you got the Indians have been up there, the Dodgers, obviously, the Yankees and Orioles. They've been playing. They have the best records in baseball. These teams, but there's nobody playing great.
What do you think, Jeff, about the football, the Jets? I tell you the truth, as much as I dislike Aaron Rodgers, and I just like it. I'm smarter than everybody else. Everybody's stupid. I'm smart. I think if he doesn't get hurt, they got a good shot of going at least to the playoffs. What do you think?
The Jets?
Yes.
If they don't get hurt and that the offensive line works well, yeah. There's a good chance they'll make the playoffs, but they're the Jets, so you can't discount anything.
Yeah. They remind me of the Mets.
Well, again, here's the thing. As always, it's tough when the bullseye's on you, right? Last year, the bullseye was on the Jets. Everybody thought Aaron Rodgers coming over. They're going to have a great year. He gets hurt. If they stay healthy, yes, theoretically, they should be good. Paul, you're talking about DJ LeMahieu. Frankie, we're going to get to Judge and the Staten Island team. I got that, and I think the Staten Island team did a really bad job with that. We'll talk about that in a minute. Paul, you talking about DJ LeMahieu? Because I would agree with you. They should stop playing DJ LeMahieu at this point in time. In the meantime, Dad, I don't like Rodgers personally, but I'm not going to knock the guy as a quarterback. He's one of the best of his generation. So but I would say to Jeff's point, they're the Jets, and you just wait for the black cloud to hover over and drop the next bit of
that's right. They remind me of the Mets. You look at them, they play, they're winning, they got a decent team, and then for some reason, they just like somebody let the air out of the balloon, and they come back down to earth. It's a shame.
Yeah, Jeff, you were about to say something. Go ahead.
No, first of all, their balloon very rarely has any air in it anyway. It's like they fill it with cement, so it can't get off.
I know the feeling.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's tougher to play with the expectation on your back. I mean, most people are picking the Jets to win 11 or 12 games. So, is it impossible? No, I think their division's not as good as it used to be. I think their defense is top 5, if not top 3. And with Rodgers, they should be better offensively. I've still not sold on the offensive line until I see Tyron Smith and Moses and all those guys play a full season at their peak. If they do,
Ain't gonna happen.
I'm just saying, if they do, then the Jets, to me, the sky's the limit. There's no reason why they can't. That's as good a
How's
defense.
their offensive line, Jeff?
That's a little suspect. You got older guys that have been hurt and, coming back from surgeries, and we got to see how they healed up and how they perform. It's big for them. The one thing I do know is that they're definitely, say that they're not as bad as a team as like the Denver Broncos and their quarterback. Oh, there's Frank Catalano, and the Denver Broncos. I mean, thank God we don't live in Denver, right? So neither one of us to vote for them.
Hey, Paul, hang in there because I want to get to the Yankees and the Mets in a minute. So I just want to finish this one up. But listen, we'll get into a lot more of the Jets this week and next week. And by the way, we'll be doing our fantasy draft right on the air next Thursday night. So Jeff, Frankie Catalano, myself, Frank Jeffrey. We're going to be doing. I'm just answering something.
I'm looking forward to doing the draft, man.
To me, it's one of the best parts of the entire thing is doing the draft. So, so we'll see. We'll do that here next Thursday night, 7:30, right on the air. I'll have the screen up, and you'll be able to see our picks right along the way.
I hope it works out for you guys.
Thank you,
I'm
Bob.
going to go now. Enjoy the rest of your night, and good luck to you. Talk to you over the weekend, Tommy. And thank you again for today.
Not a problem, Pops.
Really
No
appreciate
problem.
it.
Yep.
Talk to you guys later.
Be good, Mr. Florio.
Thank you.
All right.
Hold on a second. That was my Pops. He checks it was every week, and thank you guys. Back to real quick on the baseball stuff, Paul. Because I want to get to the Yankees, Judge, and the Staten Island Little League team that they lost. But congratulations for them to get to that point. Paul, I am tired of the Yankees playing DJ LeMahieu. I am tired of them running out these guys for no reason. And I think LeMahieu was a really good player for them. They signed him, and he went downhill physically. He just can't hit. To me, at this point, if you don't want to cut him, and I would cut him and get one of the young kids up, I would have Dominguez on this team. I would be playing Peraza a lot more. I would stick with Ben Rice, let him play, let him learn. It's helped Austin Wells. He is the best. But at some point, either you got to cut LeMahieu and eat the money, or sit him on the bench and you bring him in a big spot. If you got a spot down the line, you need to play a solid first base, or somewhere along the line you give somebody a day off. It's time to get past that, and it's the same thing. What's up there, Louis Pica? It's the same thing.
What's up, Lou?
Yeah, I mean it's the same thing with them. I don't want to see Trevino right now. I want Austin Wells to play. He's been playing great. Now we're going to shove Trevino into the lineup. I want to play these guys that deserve to play. I don't want to see Clay Holmes as the closer anymore. I like the idea of the mix and match stuff, but the DJ LeMahieu, even Stanton's the same thing for me. I don't want to see Stanton in the lineup anymore. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of he can't run.
Don't they have him with Stanton? Don't they owe him so much money that he ain't going anywhere?
That is actually absolutely the case. I think he's got 2 more years at like $40 or $50 million.
My God.
They're not. But LeMahieu, and he's got another year or so with like 14 or 15 or $20 million, whatever it is. And I get that they don't want to eat that money, but that's a good question, Paul. I would say none of this is on Girardi. I mean, I'm going to blame Cashman for Stanton. I mean, there was no reason to bring Stanton in at that point. To me, that was they were just getting to be that team that was young and physical. Like when I say physical, they were starting to get a little bit of speed, and then they shoved him in the lineup, and he can't run. The guy literally cannot run without breaking something or pulling a hamstring. So to me,
how many games has he missed in his tenure with?
Oh my God, I'd love to look that up.
100, right?
Oh yeah, I would tell you he misses at a minimum 30 to 40 games every year. I would be shocked if I was wrong on that.
Dude, I bet you it's more than that.
Yeah, and listen, and to be honest with you, Judge has kind of been the same. He's had 2 or 3 years where he's been extremely healthy. But he's had the same problem, but that's the problem. You don't want the same guys. And then Stanton hogs up a spot at the DH where you can be resting some of your guys. But, to me, this Yankee team, Paul, I agree with you. The problem with Rizzo is he's got such prolonged slumps. If he would just stay healthy and consistent, it doesn't have to be, 7 home runs in 4 days. It just needs to be consistent. His problem is he'll be on fire for 2 weeks and then he'll disappear for a month. Now, I love his glove in the lineup, but at this point, I don't want him to come back. I want to stay with the kids. I want to see Peraza play. I don't want to see any more Torres. I'm tired of Torres. I want to see Jazz Chisholm play when he gets back. But right now, I'll take Peraza or Cabrera at third. I want Ben Rice to play first, and I want this team to play with some speed and some agility, and not be base to base baseball. So that but to me, while I love Rizzo as a player, he just isn't the same guy. He's kind of in the same mode as DJ LeMahieu, and I got to be honest with you. I think it's time. He may come back and get some big hits and help this team win. There would be no doubt. There'll be no arguing that. The problem with signing Judge right now, or signing Soto, is here's a couple problems. One, you're going to have to pay him more than Judge. That's a tough one, Jeff. He's the captain of the team. He's the best player in baseball right now. But in order to get Juan Soto, you're going to go $500 million or more. You're going to go $50 million or more, which is a lot more money than you're paying Judge. He may understand it, but it's still not going to look right in that thing. But you're right. They should sign him.
No, listen, Tom. First of all, good players cost a lot of money, sadly. Yeah. Okay? And if you want to win, a team like the Yankees is capable of making that salary back in no time, because of endorsements and everything else. They're a team that generates money. Do they take just the plunge? And, I wouldn't want to be signing one of these guys to a long-term deal anyway. And if I was one of those players, I wouldn't want to sign a long-term deal, because you could sign a 2 or 3 year deal and get paid again and again, and maybe your pay goes up twice in that time.
I agree. I agree to a certain extent, but I would say that Soto at 25 is a guy I would invest 10 years in. He's one of the few. He might be better off, like you said, Jeff, doing a 5 or 7 year deal. That way he's got some guaranteed money. God forbid he gets hurt, but yet still is young enough that he could sign another big deal after that. So I don't disagree with you.
Why pigeonhole yourself into something where you're going to get, $50 million? Of course, that's more than what everybody that's here right now is going to make next year. But, if you get $50 million for 10 years, okay, yeah, that's great. But what happens in 4 years when they're now giving you $60 million or $65 million?
Oh, agreed. And he's going to reset the market. The problem is I don't think the Yankees are going to sign him. And not because they don't want to. I think they'll break the bank for him. I think that Steve Cohen is going to go out and overpay, if there's such a thing, for Juan Soto. He's going to overpay because he needs Juan Soto. He doesn't want to sign Alonso. He doesn't want to, because he has to overpay him to sign him, and he doesn't want to get stuck with 7 years of Pete Alonso when he's already trending down. But he'll have no choice but to sign Alonso if he doesn't sign Soto. He's going to overpay Soto because he needs that star in the building. He needs that player. Lindor is a good player, maybe even a great player. He's not that player. Lindor is overpaid. He's a good player, but not worth $34 million a year, for 10 years. So he's got to do it.
You say that, right? And I hear what you're saying about, like, certain players aren't worth the money. But these owners, it seems as though that they need a face for their franchise.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. They
want to buy a leader, not cultivate a leader.
Right.
You know what I mean? And because it takes too much time to cultivate a leader.
Well, yeah.
Now, when you buy a leader, okay, and you're paying him that kind of money, you can't upstage him. You know what I mean? You can't upstage him by trying to grow some home talent to surpass him, because you're paying him all of this money. You're not going to want to do that.
Yeah, and that's what you face right now. The Yankees drafted Judge. He came up a little late, 25 years old. He hit a stride at 28, 29. He's, to me, the best player in baseball right now. There is no doubt in my mind he is the best player in baseball. We'll talk a little bit later about, if he sets us up, if he beats his record this year, what that means. But you paid him close to $40 million a year. He's nearly a $400 million ball player. Now you're going to bring Soto in. Again,
Judge is compared to the year he beat the record? Is he ahead? Is he on pace?
I don't know. I have to look it up because I meant to do it before the show, but I forgot. But he's got 48 now, so he needs another 14 to tie, 15 to break the record, I believe. So he's got a month and change to do that, almost a month and a half. So it's not impossible. One good month and he's there. But going back to Soto, Paul, and Frank, I would be shocked. I would be utterly shocked if Juan Soto was not a Met next year, because I think the one thing that Steve Cohen has been hanging his hat on, that's one of the reasons he didn't sign Alonso yet. It's to me at this point, he's putting all the eggs in the basket. That's why he didn't up the offer on the Japanese kid that went to the Dodgers, the pitcher. They were setting themselves up for next year because they want to go in all in, and they should. Now, if they offer $600 million and the Yankees match it, I think Soto stays in New York with the Yankees. I do. If it's even money, I think he loves the Yankees. I think he loves playing with Judge. It gives him a guy he doesn't have to be the best player, but I don't think it's going to be that close. I think.
Let me ask you this:
yeah.
Even though it's New York, regardless of whether he goes to the Mets or the Yankees, he'll still be in New York.
Yep.
Is he inclined to get better endorsement deals with the Yankees because they're the Yankees than he would the Mets?
It's a good question. I mean, the pinstripes are world famous. It's around the world. The game's international, so I don't think it's a big deal. But yeah, I do think that there's a little more prestige playing for the New York Yankees, and that's no offense to any other team. That's just my opinion. But if Frankie disagrees, and I don't blame you. It's not like it was.
Frankie's a Met fan, so of course you're not going to look at it that way, and that's understandable. But I think teams like, you got the Angels, aren't they the Los Angeles Angels?
I'm pretty sure that they're Los Angeles Angels.
I think they're the Los Angeles Angels and the Los Angeles Dodgers. You're a player, a free agent. They're both offering you money. Who you going to? I'd rather go to the Dodgers.
Yes. Well, that's because the Dodgers are more successful.
More prestige, a team that has more law to it and everything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think when it comes to Soto, listen, here's a guy who's been offered great contracts by the Nationals, by the Padres. He's going for top dollar. So it's all going to depend on the money. And and to be honest with you, if he has if the let's say the Kansas City Royals offered him or the San Francisco Giants offered it to him, and the Yankees were a few dollars less, it might influence him. But to me, if he can play in New York, whether it's the Yankees or the Mets, I don't think it matters. I think if it's close and he could play with Judge for 5 more years or 10 more years, I honestly believe that he would be that. But I
makes
don't
a lot of sense.
Yeah, I don't think that the Yankees can compete with Steve Cohen if that's his plan, which I believe it is. Steve Cohen is going to break the bank and give Juan Soto. He's going to call up bar and say, "What's the number on the check that signs it today?" And I think he does it because the Mets. So back to Paul, the Mets need him now. The Mets need that player. He's that good. He brings that much more attention to the franchise. I watch the guy play every game. He is a phenomenal player. So yeah, I do believe he'll go. Trout Paul is the most frustrating player I've ever seen. He's a Hall of Famer, but to me, his career is painstakingly what's the right word?
Derailed.
Yeah, derail's a great one, but it just hasn't lived up to the hype. He's all world. I think he's got 3 MVPs already. All of that stuff. All that stuff is great, but the guy never plays. To me, he'll get in the Hall of Fame, but there's always going to be a little of. And why is he not the face of baseball? There's a clean-cut guy who never gets in trouble, who breaks his ass when he does play, and he's great. And Aaron Judge is the face of baseball. So. Frankie, I want to believe you. I just can't imagine Steve Cohen getting outbid. Again, if there's a magic number and Soto says, Yankees, you give me $500 million, I'm staying no matter what anybody else offers, I would be shocked. I think he's going to the highest bidder.
Paul, are you talking about what's his face?
Paul, you're talking about Trout? That's my
Great Bo Nix. Frank, I hope you don't live alone, bro. You should be under fucking supervision. Put all the matches in a fucking sink and
Trout, yeah. See, the problem with Trout is he's another guy who, again, here's the danger, Jeff, of guys who go for just the money. You go to a place and they pay you a ton of money, and then don't pay anybody else. And
well,
that's
of course, because they can't pay anybody, especially nowadays with a salary cap. I remember when the Angels when I was a kid, in the Angels, they had guys like Bobby Grich and Rod Carew. Mm-hmm. They were more of a competitive team. I think they made the playoffs a couple times, but that's a team that every once in a while kind of rises to the top, stays there a year or two at best, and then fades back into obscurity. They're not a perennial winner.
Yeah, no, I never understood him going to the Angels and re-upping it. I never understood why he was Reggie. The other thing about Soto, for me is, it's that age-old thing. The Mets, while I think they need him, that's not why they're not winning. They're not winning because they're starting pitching and their bullpen are not great. So here's the problem I have. You're still, are you still stuck with McNeil next year? Are you, what are you doing at first base? Are you moving Vientos over there, who's really not that much better or worse than Alonso? So there's a lot of issues with the Mets that if you go out and spend $500, $600 million on Soto, are you still going to go out and fix those other problems? Because there's a lot of issues on the Mets. I mean, the kid catcher, is it Alvarez? He has not been great. He's been good. A big home run the other night. Don't get me wrong. He has not been great. Nimmo hasn't been great. The pitching staff has got a lot to be desired. So is the bullpen. So how are you fixing all of that and signing Juan Soto for $500 million is the question. So just bringing him on does not fix it, huh?
How is their farm system?
It's like anybody else's. It's how much you can convince people. They've had Beatty up and down. He hasn't been great. Vientos has been okay. They've brought up a couple of guys who have played okay, but it hasn't been. I think the Yankees have actually had a better farm system with obviously Volpe, who's not been great, but is better than solid. And there's a legit shortstop in the league. Obviously, Judge is in that thing. Yeah, Paul, they do have 6 in the top 10, 6 in the top 100, but none of those guys are rushing up here right now. So we'll see. I mean, there's some guys that maybe they can fix it that way, but for both teams, and the Yankees are included. I mean, the Yankee pitching staff, I think, is okay. I'm not crazy about, but I think he'll with another year of work. I love Cole. I think Rodon's okay, serviceable. Schmitz is serviceable. The Yankee problem is the bullpen. For the first time, they need a closer. They're going to fix second base. They're going to fix the closer. Verdugo's been horrendous for 2 months. Is Chisholm the answer full-time for third base? I don't know. Who plays first base? The Yankees have a lot of issues. I think they're set at catcher. I like Wells. I think they're set at shortstop. They're set probably 2 of the outfield spots, maybe 1 for sure, and part of the pitching staff. But the Yankees have a lot of issues. So Volpe's not great, but he's solid. Guy won a Gold Glove last year. He's solid defensively. He's hitting 2 and change. He's hit 240. He's stolen 20 bases. I don't think he's superstar material, but Volpe's you can win a World Series with Volpe playing shortstop for you every day. Their problem is second base, third base, first base, and in the bullpen. Clay Holmes blown 10 saves this year.
See you later, Paul.
See you, Paulie boy.
And good luck to Ty.
Yes, good luck to him. Absolutely. See you, brother. So, yeah. So, listen, there's a lot of issues. Soto is going to be decided later on. Who knows when? Obviously after the season, Jeff. But lots to chew on when we get to that. But we got plenty to talk about. Let's. I'm going to ask you a question first, and then I want to talk about the Little League and Aaron Judge and the Yankees. I don't know if you've paid attention to that all week at all.
No.
Right.
I know that the Staten Island Little League was in the playoffs, I guess, for the World Series.
Yes.
They didn't do so hot.
Well, they got to quarterfinals. They lost to Florida the other night. Didn't play very well. But there was a little controversy Let's do that first, and then I'll get you to my question I want to ask. Oh, that's not no sports related. I'll ask everybody this question. But so Sunday, the Yankees took their series against the Tigers from New York. They went to Pennsylvania, and they were playing at Williamsport at the complex there where they hold the Little League World Series. And I guess they do this every year. Some teams go out there and they play a game. And then during the day, the major leaguers kind of mingle with the players, watch their games, kind of hang out a little bit. So the Yankees and Tigers did that. There's a tradition of going down this hill, sliding down this hill, whether it's on cardboard, on your ass, however you do it. So South Shore Little League was there. And by all accounts that I can read, Aaron Judge, the entire Yankee and Detroit Tiger teams mingled with the players for a good part of the day. What it seems, though, is when the game started, the Staten Island Little Leaguers were in, I guess, either center field or right field, wherever Judge was playing, I guess it was center, and they were yelling for him during the game to turn around and wave to them, and he didn't. And the coach of the Staten Island team basically called out Aaron Judge and said, he did a bad job. He didn't spend any time with the kids. And the Yankees and Major League Baseball came back and said, they spent time with all the kids. I don't understand. Yes. I'll get to that in a second. And they were trying to basically say that Aaron Judge, basically ignored their team. And I got to be honest with you. I think that the coach from Staten Island, I watched the game. I think he's just a loudmouth guy who wants to hear himself talk. And I don't know is Aaron Judge supposed to, turn around and wave every time the kids yell and scream from Jeff? I mean, he's in a baseball game. I'm not saying he shouldn't have did it once. Maybe he did it once. He didn't do it enough times. I don't know. But to me, it seems like a little bit of bullshit.
It's one of those things, Tom. You know what? If you're there as an ambassador of the game, if that's a thing that goes on, maybe you should have been a little bit more receptive to it. But then again, how many times at any public event that Aaron Judge is at is he getting called 400 or 500 times a baseball game? And maybe he hears his name so much that he can't acknowledge every time somebody yells Aaron, Aaron, Aaron. Yeah. It would be virtually impossible. Listen, just like everybody else under the sun, maybe he was having a bad day. Maybe he didn't feel good. Maybe he didn't want to be there. Maybe his girl was giving him a hard time. Who knows? Maybe he got a parking ticket or, he got a scratch on his Bentley. I don't know. You don't know what's going on with these guys.
100%. And I think it's ridiculous to go out there and I mean,
I saw videos of Judge playing catch with a kid.
Yeah.
I think that even happened on the road, I think it was, right?
Yeah. Again, for all accounts, Aaron Judge is a pretty good guy. And you've never heard one bit of controversy about him being a jerk or an asshole. And maybe he is. Maybe he just does a good thing and does the right thing in public, and people haven't caught him. I don't know. But to me, what I watched, because they're from South Shore, did he have to spend the entire day with them? Was he supposed to buy them dinner? I don't get it. I've been part of little leagues, and you bring superstars in. And the guy would walk in, he walked through the line, he patted by his hand, signed a couple autographs, and he moves on. Is he an asshole because he didn't spend a half hour with me, ask me how my math class was, or ask me how my mom's doing? To me, I think that the league, the South Shore Little League, the coach was way out of line. He probably owes the Yankees and Judge and baseball an apology. And what he should do is teach his kids the fundamentals. Because I watched that game, and those kids look like they never even heard of the word bunt. They weren't prepared to play. They made mistakes on the base paths. They were outplayed. Fundamentals. Now, they got some talented kids on that team. They made to that point. But the last thing that he should be doing is complaining about that Aaron Judge didn't spend any time with them. I'm sorry. I think it's completely wrong.
If you're going to the Little League World Series and the highlight of your weekend there was that Aaron Judge was hanging out, then I think you're looking at the games and everything that happened there the wrong way.
Absolutely.
Just like every Major League Baseball player every year wants to get into the World Series and the playoffs, these kids have even less of a chance because this is a worldwide thing, isn't it? I've seen teams from Australia, a couple other places,
China, Mexico, Cuba. It's all over the world.
All over vying to get into this and to win the Little League World Series.
Mhm.
So, you should have been happy that the kids got to spend a little time, and you were a Staten Island team and you had somebody from the New York Yankees there.
Yeah.
Maybe it should have been the Texas Rangers and the fucking Arizona Diamondbacks. And then they see where you'd be like, who is that guy?
Yeah.
That's Joe, whatever. He's a pitcher for the Diamondbacks. Where? He's the middle reliever. Oh, no wonder we never heard of him. So, at least you had a bona fide all-star baseball player there. You know what I mean?
No doubt. And again, I want to go back to Alan's comment. Yes, Alan, the Florida kids, holy cow, that kid was throwing BBs. Here's the one thing I tell you, Jeff. When I played Little League, they frowned on you throwing anything but fastballs. If you threw a curveball, they were in your ear, your arm, protect your arm. Jeff, I'm watching this kid. These kids got 3 different cutters, changeups. They're throwing pitches I've never even heard of, and talented, throwing it well. But you're 12 years old. You're throwing 50, 60, 70 pitches, and half of them are you're snapping the ball off with your wrist or an elbow. Boy, no wonder these kids are tearing their arms apart when they're in their 20s.
Listen, you know what, Tom? If you're a pitcher in Little League baseball and you're a Little League pitcher from the year, say, around the age of 8 to 10 years old, okay, by the time you're 18 and you get out of high school, you've been throwing the ball for over 10 years already. Think of the mileage that's on your arm.
Oh, yeah.
Now you go to college. Now you add another 4 years on. That's 14 years before you get out of college. And then if you're in the minors for 2 or 3 years, you could be throwing the ball for 20 years before you actually make it into the majors.
Yeah.
So regardless of what pitch they're throwing, and half the people that coach these teams, do they know how to throw a fucking curveball in the first?
Yeah. I don't know
or something.
I have to tell you, after watching the Staten Island team tried to bunt. I would say while I was watching it, I was watching it with Paul, and I mean by we were texting back and forth watching the game, and I couldn't believe, you're asking these kids to bunt. It looked like they never even heard of a bunt. I mean, they were literally just holding a bat up and trying to poke at it. It was some of the worst fundamentals I've ever seen.
I saw one of the kids from the Staten Island team. Mm-hmm. The pitcher was ready to throw the ball, and he's standing at the plate already in the bunt position.
Yeah.
Now, far be it for me, I'm not a fundamentals baseball type of guy. You know what I mean? But isn't the bunt, aren't you supposed to try to hide that just a little bit?
Well, it depends. I mean, see, first off, in a Little League thing, you have less room. So you want to wait to kind of the last second, because if you bunt too early, they're on top of you and they're throwing, and the runner can't leave until the ball, I'm not sure if it's out of his hand or crosses the plate. So you have to be very careful if you show the bunt too early.
But when you're standing there and the pitcher's still 5 seconds away from throwing the ball,
you're
standing there in the bunt position.
Yeah,
you don't move.
Correct.
They're going to bunt. I could see some guys in the major leagues used to watch them. They pretend like they're going to bunt, and then when the pitcher goes into the windup, he goes into the regular hit position, or they're like that ready, and then as he starts to throw the ball, then they fucking put it in there.
I agree. Listen, if you're bunting for a hit, it's a surprise.
Space.
Yeah, if you're bunting for a hit, it's more of a surprise. But if you're sacrificing, you do want to, as the pitcher's making his windup, you do want to square yourself up, get the bat out, level across the chest, and direct it, whether you're pushing it to first or you're dragging it down third, depending on if you're lefty or righty. To me, the fundamentals of bunting are long gone. Forget about the major leagues, but I was shocked that they were employing the bunt so much, and it looked like these kids had never bunted before. Now, I don't know if the kids got stage fright and the cameras are on. You got millions, hundreds of thousands of people watching this game. Maybe they just got caught a quarter. But the fundamentals of the game are completely lost all the way up. I've watched college baseball. I watched a ton of pro baseball, and I got to watch some of the kids. And the fundamentals are shot. I'm sorry, but the one thing I would say is, as athletes, these kids are way ahead of anything that I was doing or watching at when I was 12. But I would also say they're also doing things like throwing pitches that I've never, ever, ever would have thought of throwing when I was. And I faced some decent pitchers growing up. None of those guys threw like these kids do. Holy cow, these kids throw gas, and they've got off-speed pitches, curves, sweepers, slurves. They're throwing everything, so I don't like it.
Yeah, listen, it is what it is.
Yeah, so it is what it is. But it was a good job, a good season for the kids from South Shore. They made it from the Northeast. They were the representative. They've won a few games.
They were the representative. Look what they did. Look what they did.
Yeah.
They crashed and burned.
Yep. So again,
and I hate to say this, Tom. I hate to say this. They crashed and burned.
Okay, here we go.
Just like the Mets,
There we
just like the Broncos, just like the Dolphins.
Oh boy,
they crashed and burned.
Look at that. He's taking a shot at all you guys. Look at you guys.
And the Giants too. Fuck them.
Why not? Just sort of whole mix. And again, Hard Rockin' Sports. That's Jeff. I'm Tom, and all our buddies are hanging out with us, and we're looking forward. We got more to talk about here. I got a question for you off the sports path. I want to almost like cleansing the palate. Like it's kind of in between courses. I want to throw one out there. All right, everybody, give me this one, Jeff. You're saying it out loud. Everybody, write it down. Here it comes. You got one show, the rest of your life to DVR and watch. One show, one TV show. What's the TV show?
Oh man, you know what? I don't know because I don't watch.
And it could be current. It could be past. It doesn't have to be something today. It could be something from your child. For me, I'll tell you guys flat out, it's This Week in Baseball. If I could get all the old This Week in Baseballs on my DVR and watch them the rest of my life, I would do that because it was so much fun watching those, the San Diego Chicken, all of that. So if I could watch one show forever, it's that one.
That's a good choice. I remember that used to be on before the Yankee games, and I remember in the opening credits, they showed Dave Parker throw a fucking bullet from right field and get the guy Batman.
Yeah, that was in the 79 All-Star game. He threw out Brian Downing and the catcher was Gary Carter. Yes, and
all I remember is that he threw it, and I don't even think the ball bounced, man.
Oh my God, that guy is one of the. It's a shame he's not in the Hall of Fame. It's a shame that Dave Parker. He was one of the best players in baseball. He got caught up in the drug stuff. He kind of went off the edge quick. Dave Parker in his prime, one of the best players I've ever watched.
I got to look up his stats. I know he didn't have huge numbers because
TV shows, Frankie. TV shows don't matter. That was a TV show. Any TV show could be This Week in Football. Back with Summerall and Tom Brookshire. That's another good one. Any show in the that's ever been on TV that you could DVR it, and that's the only show you can watch the rest of your life. Chicago Fire. I'm not a fan. I like Chicago PD. I'm not a huge fan of Chicago Fire. I know that's more your thing, Frankie. But Unsolved Mysteries, another good one. That's Robert Stack, I believe.
Robert Stack.
Batman's a good one. It's on every Saturday morning. I see
one
it.
that nobody's mentioned so far that you haven't mentioned. All in the Family.
It's classic. It's on every night.
Dave Parker, 339 home runs in his career.
Yeah.
Okay, and he played from 1973.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, his first full year was 1975.
I bet you played into 90, 91. Did he go to 90, 91? Okay.
Yeah, that's a long time, man. 18 years, and he was with Pittsburgh a majority of the time.
Yes, he again. I think between the drug scandal and he did have he had some great years, and I think there was a big drop off at some point. Jeff, I'd have to look at his stats. Maybe you have it in front of what was his lifetime batting average?
I just shut it, Tom. I think it was 309. I'm not sure.
Yeah, to me, if you asked me
339 home runs all the years that he was there.
Yeah, to me, if you ask me, Dave Parker was a Hall of Famer. Dave Parker was better than some of the guys that just went into the Hall of Fame easily. So yeah, who else?
He played for Oakland. I'm gonna have to look it up again.
The Reds. He also played for the Reds.
Yeah. He played for a lot of teams actually.
Yeah, he moved around at the end of his career. Yeah,
I think he actually played for the Blue Jays too.
Yeah, Frankie, The Sopranos is a good one. The problem for me, Sopranos is, I don't know. I didn't watch it while it was on. To be honest with you, I caught The Sopranos after. I just never caught the bug. Maybe because I worked with and was around so many guys like that I just didn't like watching it. I did later on. HBO was playing it every night, so I saw it in 6 months. I saw the entire series because they played it every night. So you saw 5 episodes a night. You went through it in months, like it was over. So, great series, great acting. I would tell you, I'll probably never watch it again.
I can't bring myself to watch that show for a lot of different reasons. But Frank Catalano, to answer your question, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Oakland, Milwaukee, Toronto, California, and then he finished it up with Toronto.
Wow, that's a lot of teams.
Yeah.
Louis Peak, I can actually see you sitting in front of you in your house watching Joy Behar. I could see it, Lou. I know you're a Joy Behar fan. I could see it. Yes, he is. Again, The Sopranos. It's a great show. They shouldn't end it. Again, one of the worst endings. I think endings are real.
That wasn't one of the worst endings. That was the worst ending.
The only thing maybe worse than that one was probably Seinfeld. Seinfeld was to me the worst. The most hyped up ending was those two shows, and they ended it horrendously.
You know, I would say, I know I threw out All in the Family out there, but it's a good one to watch nonstop if you could. Old time 1970s wrestling.
Okay, absolutely.
Vince McMahon was the announcer, setting up the ring and everything else, and you would hear the custodian sweeping the floor while they would interview wrestlers.
Yes.
Just the rawness of what it once was.
Listen, I'm with you. I love the wrestling. I was just this weekend watching some old stuff that I hadn't remembered. There was a combination of the what was it called? The Ultimate Maniacs, which was the Ultimate Warrior and Randy Macho Man.
Man Savage.
They teamed up for a while, but they only had one match, which I didn't know. So I went back to find that one match. It was a Saturday night main event.
Frank Jeffrey, I believe we have a Fryer stick somewhere in my house. I don't know how to access it. I don't know where it is. I don't know what TV it's hooked up to. I have no idea. My wife keeps talking about all these different stations we have. I don't know where they are. They live on a TV somewhere. I have no idea. I'm still watching cable.
Yeah, well, I have cable. I have a Fire Stick. Thank you, Frankie. And I can go to. I have Peacock. So like you have regular cable. I also have some streaming services. I don't pay for Peacock or.
You said cock.
Yes, and I don't pay for that or Netflix because my cable company gives it to me for free. I pay for Prime, but I get that free because I pay for Prime services. So, but Peacock has the entire catalog of old wrestling. So anytime I want, I can
the entire catalog of old wrestling. Like, what does that mean? And I don't mean to sound stupid. What does that mean? That you could say tonight from Chicago, Illinois, the WWF, they got Greg the Hammer Valentine, Jake the Snake Roberts. That's it.
Here's what you can go. You can find every WrestleMania, every SummerSlam, every Royal Rumble, a bunch of the other ones like the Back to the Beach, Bash at the Beach, a lot of the NWO stuff there. A lot of that stuff was WCW stuff is on there. But you can also find like best of stuff. Like you could find old school wrestling. So you can go on there and there's matches from like the 70s. You can find like Bruno Sammartino versus
when the matches were on Channel 9 at midnight.
Yep.
That's the wrestling I want to see.
You can find a lot of that stuff. Yeah, a lot of that stuff's on there. Now they don't have every single one. I don't know if they change them in and out or they bring them in and they bring them in occasionally. I don't.
Tom, keep going. I got something to come about.
But yeah, I watched. I go through phases with that. So like I hit one about 3 months ago where I watched the first 9 WrestleManias all over again. I know I watched a couple of those with Alan. I know we watched WrestleMania 3 for sure together. We might have watched 3 and 4, but we definitely watched the 3 and 3 together. But yeah, so you let's see. If you have Verizon, you have ESPN Plus. See, I have Comcast, Xfinity, so I get Peacock, Netflix. They give you, so that's cool. And then I get Prime, but I love the Peacock, and I get to see a lot of old shows on there. I like to watch old TV shows. Like I constantly watch like Hunter and Rockford Files. I don't like a lot of the new TV shows. I don't watch reality TV, so if there's no sports on, I'm usually watching an old show that It hasn't been on in 40 years or 50 years because that's what I enjoy. I don't. Peacock is great. It's got a lot of shows. I catch all the wrestling. It's got some movies. It's got some original content. Not a lot of great stuff. So I do. But if I was going to go back in time and I can only watch one show from this point on, it's close to the Tom Brookshire, Pat Summerall this week in this week in the NFL. But the Twib with Mel Allen, my God, that was some of the best. My Sunday mornings, no matter where I was, I had to be home. I don't know if it was at noon. I don't know if it was 11:30, but somewhere in that time, This Week in Baseball would come on, and I would watch the whole thing. So, Golden Girls, I have to tell you, there was some funny episodes. Not one of my favorites, but there was some funny stuff there. But I watch old TV. That's what I watch, and that's why I like the streaming services. I love the Stick. The Stick, I can find just about anything in the world out there. So,
you like the Stick, huh?
Fire Stick is the best.
Oh.
Fire Stick is the best.
I know. You look the type that likes the Stick.
Yes. But if you like old school wrestling and you want to spend again, I watched the old Prime Time with Bobby the Brain and Gorilla Monsoon. They have all of those episodes and Saturday Night Main Events. And again, all the WrestleManias, I can go back and watch them free of charge. Click a button, and I'm watching, and I'm back in 1988. 87 watching those shows. So
I gotta comment on Frank Jeffries' last comment there about the Golden Girls. I'm friends with a guy that leads a lifestyle that most will not, if you know what I'm saying. Okay, I know him from work, and he's an all right guy, but he's out there. But the thing is, he keeps sending me snippets of the Golden Girls. And let me tell you something. That show must have been hysterical in its time, man. Because some of the stuff that they say and get away with on that show, on the clip, it's the little clips that he sends, is pretty funny shit, man.
Yeah, well, the old lady Sophia, which was played by Estelle Getty, who's nowhere near that age.
Yeah, I know.
She was very funny. I always thought her character was funny. Some of it was funny.
They're all funny, and they're all gone too.
Yes, yeah. Unfortunately, yeah. That's when you do an old show with older women. That's what you get. So, but I'm just trying to see something here. That's Sunday's line. I'm looking for. I guess they don't have it out yet. Anyway, so but yeah, I was just wanted to see if everybody. Yeah, like Frank, I'm sure you do. Let's get to a little football.
Frank Catalano, you got to watch some clips, man, because I didn't like them either. I really didn't. And then he started sending me stuff, and I was like, I got to watch it if he sent it to me. And then some of it was fucking hysterical.
It's on like every Saturday morning. You can find like 8.
I'm sure you can find it anytime.
Yeah, you can find 8 or 10 hours of it. It's all over the place. And again, I have 5 or 6 channels on my TV every night that I can watch. Welcome Back, Kotter. I can watch.
Welcome Back, Kotter. You can get.
Oh, every night. It's on every single night. Adam 12. I mean,
Adam 12.
Yes.
I remember as a kid.
Yeah, sure.
My mother and father let me watch Adam 12.
Yeah. Again, I'm sure it's on your TV. I have Me TV. I have H&I. I can watch. There's so many shows I DVR, and my wife goes to bed. When I finish the show tonight, she'll be sleeping. I'll go inside. I'll go on the DVR, and I'll watch 3 or 4 episodes of some of those shows that that I don't get that I used to watch. I prefer that than some of the new shows. I can't watch reality TV. I do with my wife because she watches it, and we kind of watch TV together. So we kind of alternate. If there's something she wants to watch, I'll sit there and watch it with her. But I hate reality TV. I don't watch Survivor. Chips is a great one. I mean, some of them I have to tell you, like I try to watch Welcome Back, Kotter. It's very hard to watch. It's very hard to watch. Yeah, it definitely has not stood the test of time.
Well, I mean,
it's not funny.
It got the push that it did because it was on Tuesdays or Thursdays, and I believe it was on the same day as Happy Days.
Good, your memory is better than mine on that one.
Oh, yeah. And a lot of Channel 7 shows, because the Welcome Back, Kotter was on Channel 7.
Mm-hmm.
They got a push because of Happy Days. Shirley.
Sure.
I remember that. Like a lot of they hung on the coattails.
Yeah.
real quick, what is it? Just like a boring show, or is it Gabriel Kaplan wasn't that funny?
You know what you find is that the jokes don't carry. Like you watch All in the Family, I'm gonna bring that up, or even MASH. The jokes are still funny for some reason. When I watch Welcome Back, Kotter, it's hard to watch these guys who are all late 20s, almost 30 years old, pretending to be high school kids, which again is fine. I can suspend it, but the jokes aren't funny. And it's just as a kid, I thought it was the greatest show in the world. And I try to watch it now. And I'm like, oh, this is bad. Like, I can't even watch this. This is terrible. So some shows, I watch Barney Miller every night. Like before I go to bed, it's usually on. It's on 2 different channels at that point. I'm usually flipping back and forth, and I'll leave that on and I'll fall asleep. That show's a good show. It carries. It's okay. There are some shows that you can watch now, and it's almost like watching it back in the day. Some shows now, you go back, you go, oh my God, how did I ever watch this? It's brutal. Yeah, exactly. Like, what up your nose with a rubber hose? Like, what did it even mean? Like nobody ever stuck a hose up anybody's nose. I don't,
listen, you were hanging out with the wrong people. I know lots of people that were sticking things up their noses back then. Well, maybe not back then, but a few years later.
Yeah, it's a little different. But yeah, it's again, there are some shows that this week.
When you say that, look at Happy Days. Somebody wrote Frank Hanlon said Happy Days. I love. What was Sit on it? Sit on it, Ralph.
No, yes. Again, I think there are parts of that you don't carry, but I think I know I can watch some of those episodes. I don't run for that anymore. I can't watch Laverne and Shirley other than for Lenny and Squiggy. When Lenny and Squiggy pop up, I find them hysterical still to this day. But yeah, it's corny, but you do love it, and some of the shows still carry to today. Some don't. So you pick and choose, and there are shows that my wife always says, hey, "How do you watch this? The acting is terrible." I watch it because it's basic. It's just
meant to be terrible.
It's either funny or it's not. It's either there's I watch some of these cop shows. There's a good guy, there's a bad guy. It takes 20 minutes and they figure out who's the good guy, who's the bad guy, and who goes to jail. It's simple and easy. I don't want the only show I really watch nowadays is NCIS, the original one. That's the only one. I watch it pretty religiously. The rest of them, I got the Big Ragu, Carmine Ragusa, Eddie Mecca, just died a couple years ago.
Yep.
Very talented guy, boxer. I think he was a Golden Gloves boxer, and also a hell of a dancer and a good actor. So and
right. He used to dance, right? That's right.
Yes, yeah. But yes, actually, that episode's one of my favorites. When Fonzie and the Big Ragu go save Richie and the boys from the Red Devils, from the Red Devils in the gymnasium, and they turn, they do a handstand and kick the guys in the face supposedly, and everybody runs out the door. So that is one of my favorite episodes. Frank Jeffrey, thank you for bringing that up. That's a good one. So again, I'm glad that everybody got their old shows out. Again, if you have streaming services, it's great. You can find all of them. If you have cable, my cable TV has 5 or 6 different channels with old shows. You can watch them every night, and I do. So I hope you guys enjoy this. When there's bad game on TV or there's football season, there's not a lot to do on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. Yes, I watch hockey and basketball, but I'm not as religious with those sports as I am with football and a little less with baseball. So. But we got a lot to get to. Jeff, let's get to some football. We're about 8:15 into the show, and I'm glad you guys are all hanging with us. Again, don't forget, next week is our NFL draft, fantasy draft for our league.
That's right.
We'll be doing it right here. Did you guys know Mork and Mindy is another
Mork and Mindy, not Mark and Mindy. Mork.
Yes, it's Mork and Mindy.
Yeah, you said Mork and Mindy.
I'm sorry, but yes. There was a couple of spinoffs on that. Obviously, Laverne and Shirley, that one. And was there another? Well, Joni and Chachi. Joni Loves Chachi is a spinoff of that.
Joni Loves Chachi.
Yeah. So yes, and so our fantasy draft will be done right here next week on the show. So if you're
bored, so you're doing the actual fantasy draft.
Well, we're going to do the draft like we always do.
Are we doing a mock?
No. Next week is the draft. We were going to do a mock tonight, but it was too hard to put it together to get multiple people on it. You'd have been watching me do it, or I'd have been watching you. I said, screw it. So, but no, I'm gonna do the draft, and I'll have it up on the screen, and you'll see everybody's picks. So, the only question for everybody is, for you, let's say, I don't know if you have a second alternative to do the draft, so you may be off the air for half an hour while we do the draft.
Oh, I don't know how that's going to work. I mean, I guess I can open it up in another tab.
Yeah, so you could do that because your camera will still be on you, and then you'd have the draft open in front of you. So you just wouldn't see what's on the screen for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but maybe we'll practice that one night this week if we get 5 minutes.
Yeah, dude, let me know. You know why? Yeah. I'd like to do it because, this year is a big year.
Oh, yeah. This is your year, pal.
Yeah, I want to fucking punish you, man.
Oh, yes, you can certainly.
Really, honestly and truly, I want to punish you.
We'll see. We'll see who's standing.
When we're done.
Yeah.
I want like that. You don't answer text messages when you come on the show. You're just like, "This is Tom. I'm on the show."
Won't happen, my friend.
And then when I'm done, I'm telling you who else I'm going for, man. I'm telling you right now, Frankie Catalano. I'm coming for you, baby.
Frankie, he's been talking shit about you off air. Like, yes, we have a 12-team league. As far as I know, everybody's in. I am. There's a couple people I haven't heard from. One guy is in Greece. We'll be back. I'll verify it. I have a couple of alternates in case somebody bails. But as far as I know, I think everybody's in. Not everybody's paid. There's only been 2 payments so far, which I'll
listen. I'll get to you. You know.
Yeah, I about you. But yeah, so
my mortgage. I didn't have money this week.
But it would be nice if you guys responded to the emails. I hope you guys are getting the email. I sent out a couple of emails. I know Jeff got it because I asked him. I'm pretty sure Jeffrey got it. But
I was playing PlayStation 5 baseball, and you're like, could you answer the thing?
Yes, Frank, $50. That same thing, same money for this year. Most of the rules are the same. I think I might have added something in there for fumbles or something. But short of that,
category for fumbles.
Yeah, well, I think there was no point for either forcing fumbles or recovering fumbles. Something in there. I added a little something. Other than that, it's all basically the same. And 12 teams. Carl Graham's back to defend his title. Iggy Mo's back. My daughter Bianca will be in. Me, Jeff, Frankie, all in. Tony Jordan's back. Dominic's back. We're just waiting on Mike Passamonte and.
What about John?
John, I haven't asked John. I'm gonna read because I'm usually in one of his leagues and he's in this. So those are the 2 guys I have to reach out to see if they're in or not. No, Venmo's not good, Frankie. It's got to be Zelle or something else, unless somebody else has. Like Mike Carl Graham doesn't have Zelle, so he Venmo's money to Mike Passamonte, who Zells it to me. So.
How is Mike Passamonte, man?
I haven't spoken to him in a while. It's been about 5 months since I spoke to him. Probably toward the end of the last football season was probably the last time I had a chat with Mike. So Carl's in. I'm assuming Mike will be in, but I believe he's in Greece and coming back this weekend. So I'll reach out to him. Wow. But yeah, I have Zelle. You sent Zelle to my phone number, and like I said, I've received 2 people so far. Tony Jordan and Iggy Mo got me last Friday. Everybody else.
Was the half man involved?
Say again?
Was the half man involved? No,
he was never in our league.
I wonder if he's going to be contacting us for before the season starts.
Yeah, I would imagine he'll have I would almost imagine he'll have a message for a football season for his Raiders this year. I would imagine. It's no problem, Frank. It's no rush. Like I said, it would just be nice to collect all the money. Last year, I was chasing people after the season. In fact, I wound up, I think, went in my pocket for a few dollars because a couple people didn't pay, but that's okay.
That sucks.
Yeah, that's all right. It shit happens, but we had a good time. And this year, the king of trash talking, Mr. Jeff Tolwinski, has his own squad, so he will be dishing out juice every week right here on the air. So I pray he loses only because he'll be on the show every week bragging about his wins, his pickups, the whole bit.
Well, listen, if pickups, let's talk right now about pickups, okay? If the pickups this year, anything like last year, I don't expect to get any of them, okay? So I'm kind of glad that certain people might not be in the league this year, okay? Because every time that we put in a claim on somebody, they came out of left field and stole them, So, enough now.
Well, listen. Again, I haven't spoken to John. I will put a message up if you get a chance. You can do it and ask him if he's in. If not, like I said, I got a couple people waiting in the wings. If anybody knows anybody, we can always take somebody. We got a week, and we have at least 10, if not 11 teams in at this point. So worst case, we'll need one, and I can fill that spot in a heartbeat if I have nobody else. So, well, again, the rules are set. It's already there. It just seemed for some reason last year, and I don't know, but it seemed like every time we went to make a pickup of somebody, John Mahefka's team took that player. And I couldn't figure out, and I didn't do enough due diligence to figure out, if we had picked up somebody else or done something else or missed out on something, it usually resets it. So if you have the number 1 pick in the waiver and you make a pick, you go down to number 12, and then you work your way back up. Teams pass on a guy going down the line. So, but Frankie's right. I'm sorry, Jeff's right. Every time we went to go pick up a player, somebody stole him. Whether it was Matt, did it a couple of times, but John Mahefka and his team constantly.
Every single time. We needed a running back one time so bad. Here came John and swooped him up like.
Yeah, and he had like 73 running backs on his 20-man roster, and he took the one back we needed. We were desperate for a running back. I don't even know. It might have been like DeAndre Swift was available.
Yeah. He had like 2 or 3 huge games in a row, and it was like, let's get him. And because me and Tommy, we didn't do anything without letting the other one know first for the most part.
Yeah.
Unless it was a move that we had to make.
Yes.
That it was like, you can't let this guy slip by. And fucking John, man, there he was.
Oh my God. It was painful.
Where'd this guy go? Oh, look, he's on. And John will keep him on the bench.
Yeah. He wouldn't even play him.
Bench players. Like, what the fuck is this?
Jeff is completely right. He was just storing people on his bench. And every time, it was like he was going, all right, Jeff and Tommy are picking him up. I got to get him. And yeah. I'll take a look and see how it plays out. We'll see. But that next Thursday night, we'll do our draft. The season's a couple weeks away. I think it's technically right now 2 weeks away. It's 2 weeks from now, the Thursday night game.
You did fantasy hockey, man. Oh my God!
I did fantasy hockey one time 25 years ago.
How confusing is that?
It's like baseball. It's an everyday thing. Like you have to watch every single. I've avoided baseball other than 1 year. I'm going to do it this year. Paul Gill asked me to join his league. So I feel like, it's my friend, and it gives me more time of talking and hanging out with him. So I will join it. But it's like football, like, how much work you put in football, it's every day because the lineup has to be set every single day. You have to pay attention to who's playing, who's not playing. Frank
Catalano asked me if I'm going to take Zach Wilson. You wanted Zach Wilson on the Broncos, and now you got him on the Broncos. And I told you that he was going to be terrible. And you were like, no, he's going to come here. This is what we need. He's a great guy. The guy sucks. If you can't beat out a rookie and that other guy they got over there, man, your career is done.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I would be shocked if Zach Wilson started this year.
Well, who's he playing against? A touch tackle league?
Yeah, I don't know. Bo Nix is starting quarterback. Are they going to carry 3 guys on that roster? Is it Simeon or him? If I was the Broncos, I'd be hard pressed to keep Zach Wilson around. But listen, I haven't seen enough of him to say who's staying. But it ought to be interesting for him. And I would tell you, you God forbid he got to get in. But again, I don't expect a lot out of Bo Nix. I know he's looked good. I'm first one to say he played much better than I expected. Drake May hasn't, although I think he's been better lately. I'll be surprised if Bo Nix doesn't hit the wall at some point. We'll see. They did.
Like 35.
Bo Nix, yeah, he's. I think he just applied for Medicare.
So he's going to play 1 or 2 seasons and then retire.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like when I remember him coming up as a freshman with Auburn, seems like 100 years ago. But he literally stayed in college for 6 years. Again, played real well, but he was collecting Social Security playing for Oregon. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But that's with all the COVID stuff, guys, and redshirting, guys were staying around for 5 and 6 years. So it is what it is. Frankie, you're right. I agree with it. I think it is better. I think that guys get rushed out there at a young age, 20, 21 years old. They're told to go out there and play with these grown men in a game that's too fast for them, barely out of their mothers and fathers' houses. So I agree with you. I think that it definitely will help him. But there's been a few quarterbacks. The Panthers had a guy not too long ago. The last name started with a W, who was like 25, 26 when he came out. There's been a few guys, and it doesn't necessarily translate into success.
Remember Brandon Wheaton?
That's the guy I think I'm thinking about. He was like 25 or 26 when he left college.
Yeah, he was up there.
And it didn't translate to anything for him. So while I do think it's better for these guys to come into the league and not start right away, sticking around in college till you're 25, 26 does not guarantee you going pro and you're going to be, the next great one. It happens, but, it's not like they're going to do military service or something else and they're growing up a little bit. So, okay, aside. Yeah. And Frank Jeffrey, is that really true that your son couldn't use the name Blue Line Benders because they associated with cops? I don't get that. Like what? So what if we called this team I Love the Cops? What's the problem with that? That's what gets me pissed off with these sites. See what is that Yahoo that did that? I'd like to put that out there if that's
wow.
Blue
Line Benders, evidently a hockey.
Yeah,
reference,
my son's team was always called the Blue Line Benjamin Investigators. Yahoo told him he can no longer use that name because it's associated with the cops. So who cares? I mean, I can see if it was fuck the cops or whatever. Then I can kind of understand that you don't want that kind of platform. But just calling it Blue Line Benders when it's obviously associated with the game of hockey. But even if it's associated, even if you called it the 7th Precinct team. Who cares? So that's what pisses me off about the wokeness, about the Democrats, the left. I don't want to get back into my 15-minute rant that I started the show with.
No. You're not allowed. You're not allowed.
I am allowed, but I won't. But that's my problem today. What's next? You could have the Merry Christmas team, but you can't say Merry Christmas. So that shit fucking bothers the crap out of me. But whatever. Let's let that go. Let's talk about the first week of the season a little bit. I heard this week that the Jets. Let me ask you a question, Jeff. The Jets, big expectations. You missed quick. Louis, you'll have to go back and play the beginning of the show. 15 minutes on the Democrats and DNC and liars. They're liars. But I don't think Jeff wants to hear my quick recap.
It's not so much that I don't want to hear it, Tom. You know what it is? We're going to be dealing with it and living the dream with all of this shit for the next couple of months. And I was telling me and my wife this morning, the TV was on. She watches the TV every morning before work. And they showed a news clip of the vice president on the Democratic side. I don't know the nominee.
Yeah, Tim Walz.
And everything he was saying would be the stuff that I would want to hear from a political candidate. We want to make the country better again. We want to do this. We want to do that. I said to my wife, I was like, all these people are doing at this point in time is just slinging mud at each other. So they're not really talking about what they're going to do as far as if they get into office. And it's like, how do you believe? Who do you know who to believe? It's just, it's a shame. But
here's the thing. If you listen to my recap, and I'll make it quick, my point of my whole takeoff this week was, do your due diligence. Because if you listen to Trump and Vance, they're talking policy. They're talking about what they're going to do and how they're going to do it and why the other guys aren't. If you talk about the other side, all they're doing is lying. And why do I know they're lying? Because I watch both sides. And I'll give you quickest, for instance, make it quick, 2 seconds, I promise. But they came out and said that Trump, Walt Stern, his message last night, part of it was that Donald Trump wants to ban abortions across the country. And it's furthest from the truth. Donald Trump has come out and he said it a million times. I've seen it live myself a bunch of times. He said, hey, the federal government should not be out there dictating whether you can or can't have abortions. And if you can, what those rules should be. He said each state should vote for it like any other law and say, yes, you can, but here are the rules, or no, you can't. And each state, should vote for it. It should not be out there by the federal government, and the federal government should not be making any decisions for people's lives in that manner. There's nothing wrong with that to me. But Tim Walz came out and said Donald Trump wants to ban abortions across the country, and that is farthest thing from what the guy has said. I've seen him say it a million times. So all I say, my whole part of my 17-minute ramble, the first beginning of the show was, just do your due diligence. Go on YouTube, type in their names, hear what they got to say. Hear that Kamala Harris 4 years ago was against fracking. She wanted to take away your health insurance and have the government run your health insurance. Now she changed her mind. Well, why? She hasn't said. Go out there and listen to all the sides, all the different outlets, and then make your decision. If you decide you hear what they have to say and you want to vote for Walz and Harris, great. Then do it. But just don't do it based on what somebody else tells you. Don't do it based on half a minute of listening to a clip on YouTube or Facebook. No, do your homework and make your decision based on that. And if you make the decision to vote one way or the other, then do it. But that was my only thing is.
Yeah, I heard you saying that.
Yeah.
I heard you.
Yeah, so that's my only point for you, Jeff, because I know you're not big into the politics end of it. But just YouTube it, or watch Fox for a half an hour, watch CNN for a half an hour, watch ABC, NBC, and I'll give you another quick, for instance. We're on the topic. I want to finish this. They came out the jobs report. So for forever now, Biden's been saying, "Oh, I created 2 million jobs plus in the last year. I put 2 million jobs in the market." The Bureau of Labor Statistics came out and said, "All right, that wasn't right. We screwed it up. It wasn't 2 million. We were off by 800,000 jobs." So we went from 2.4 million to whatever it is, 1.6 million. Okay, is it a big deal? Yeah, it is. 800,000 jobs. You basically lied and said you created 800,000 jobs more than you did. But if you went to ABC and NBC, they didn't cover it for 1 second. I'm sorry. NBC and CBS didn't have 1 second of that on the air. If you watch their show, you'd have no idea that there was almost a million jobs that weren't created by these people that are bragging about it. If you went to ABC, they carried it for 20 seconds. So all I'm saying is,
I know that the networks are definitely biased on their own way, and most of them are not biased in a good way. So that they're not even giving on the other side even a quick look-see.
Yeah.
And the news is supposed to be down the middle, not their opinion, and that's what it is today. Is their opinion.
Yeah. So to me, I don't watch Sean Hannity. Sean Hannity's opinion. He gives you some facts. But watch the Brett Bears of the world, or the Bill Hammers at 9 o'clock in the morning, or watch even CNN. Watch the shows that just give you the facts. Here's what was said. Let me show you, because it's all over the TV. You can see it. You can hear it. I don't want the opinionated stuff. Just show me what everybody's saying so I can form my own opinion. But when I turn on Tim Walz, who's running, who proposes, I don't see anybody telling me that Tim Walz proposed putting tampons in boys' bathrooms. I didn't see anybody telling me that Tim Walz let his state burn because he didn't want to upset the BLM rioters, or he let police precincts burn in his state. You can't just watch one side, one channel, because you don't. And same thing for Trump. There's some stuff that I'm sure that you're not hearing through Fox that Trump did that's right, wrong, or indifferent. Learn it all. Just know it all. And then if you decide that candidate's for you, do it. But don't just do it on personality, and don't do it on 5-minute clips a day. It ain't going to make the right choice. And I'm telling you, if you think there's no big deal who's president, I'll give you Trump's three or 4 years, and I'll give you Biden's 4 years. And I'll tell you, there's a big difference. And if you remember Ronald Reagan after Jimmy Carter, presidents' policies mean a lot. So just do your homework. That's all I ask everybody. Just do your homework. Nothing but positive news coverage of Harris, 90%. Yeah, again, you can do that. And listen, my brother works for CNN. My brother is a video editor for CNN. I call him, hey, how's things at the Communist News Network? Because 90% of their programming is anti-Trump. Fox, I wouldn't say it's anti, but they give you the warts on both sides. I watch enough of all these shows, and they say they'll tell you that Harris did some good stuff. They'll also tell you that she did a lot of bad, but they give you the facts, and then you can make your decision. Just do your homework, folks. November's a big day, and November 5th is a big day. That's all I can say. At the end of the day, there's a lot of lying going on, and it ain't by the Republicans. That's all I can tell you. So let's move on. Jeff, opening day football for the New York Jets is a Monday night game in San Francisco. The Jets have high hopes. If I actually tell me what the spread of that game is.
The Jets-Niners?
Jets-Niners. Are the Jets favored? Are they underdog? And what's the spread?
I'm going to say the Jets are underdog, and I'm going to say 4.5.
Very good. Not too bad. 5.5. I was surprised by that.
That they're 5.5 under?
Yeah, because while I think that Frisco's a really good team, I think this is a 3 point. This might be like a 1.5 game to me. Now, again, the Jets are going out to the West Coast. It's Monday night. The Jets don't really do a lot of great things on prime time. They haven't looked great, but what's telling me is that Vegas is not buying into the Jets being this great team yet. And I think the biggest problem.
What have they done? They haven't done anything yet. No,
I got it, but listen. Everybody starts out with big there are teams that have big expectations, right? Let's the 49ers have big expectations this year, right? The Detroit Lions have big expectations this year. The Jets have big expectations. I'm sure the Chiefs have big expectations. And then there's a lot of teams that might have great seasons. The Dolphins, I'll throw it out there. There's the Cowboys. Are in that mix are going to have big expectations. The Packers, so people throwing the Bears out there. I just can't buy the Bears yet. But to me, the Jets with a healthy Aaron Rodgers, should be, and their defense playing the way they have and being healthy, what reality is and what we think, we'll find out. But I just thought 5.5 was a big line for that first game.
I would have thought that the Niners, until proven otherwise, I don't see the Jets. I don't have a problem with that line.
Really? Okay. I'm a little surprised to hear that.
Well, listen, what's there to be surprised about? The Jets, until proven otherwise, the Jets are the Jets.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I can't let that go. I know that, I'm part of a group chat with you guys, and I see what you guys write about the Jets, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not, but I just don't see it, man. Until it happens, I don't see it. You don't see me saying the Jets are going to win this year or win that this year.
Well,
I don't think it's going to happen. The one thing I do know is that Frank Jeffrey, I think you spent too much time near that pile years ago, and the smoke got into your brain, man. The Dolphins, not so good this year, but I'm sorry.
There's a lot of that.
That's fifth place in that division.
Yeah, that team, the Dolphins, is going to be a mystery to me right now. I didn't like the Tua thing, blasting his old coach Flores. Did you see that?
I heard about it, and listen, Flores, he hasn't been in the league since as a head coach.
No, he's the defensive coordinator for the Vikings, I believe.
Yeah, so I mean, right there, Tua is winning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Again, here's my problem with Tua, and this is the problem with the athletes today, in my opinion, and is you can't coach players hard. Now, I don't know if Brian Flores was a total dick, but he may just been a old school coach, maybe a Belichick type, where hey, you got to work at this. You're not the best player in this room. You got to go out there and you got to do better. Players. There's too many guys like Kyler Murray today. There's too many who don't want to do the work. There's too many players who were soft, like Tua sounded, where, my coach was mean to me and it kept me from being a great player. Bullshit. You kept yourself from being a great player, and maybe he was trying to motivate you. But the problem with today's players is they want to be coddled. They don't want to be pushed. They don't want to be told that they're not great. And I'm sorry. You know what? To me, the best coaches I ever played for, ever watched coach out there, push their players. And everybody gets coached differently. Sometimes players need a boot in the ass, and sometimes players needed a pat on the back. But, if you're a grown man and the coach was mean to me, you're a pussy. I'm sorry.
If you need a pat on the back, then you need to be able to accept when the coach rips you apart. Because you ain't getting a pat on the back until the coach is done ripping you apart. You have 17 games, 18 weeks in the regular season to get you, your team, and everything else on track. And it's an ultimate team sport. If you don't do your job, then you know what? It's not going to happen for you.
Yeah. Oh, I get it.
Hey, you need to be the one. You're a key cog of that team. You're the quarterback. You need to be ready. So these guys, whoever complains and cries, not just Tua, I'm not picking on Tua. I'm just saying that if he said something about you, okay, so prove him wrong. Here's your chance to prove him wrong. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, pro John McVay. McVay had one of the greatest lines of all time. Somebody asked him after a very bad loss for the Buccaneers, did he agree with his team's execute? What did he say? What did he think of his team's execution? And he said, I'm all for it.
I'm all for it.
Yeah. So
yeah, but this was a team that lost 16, 17 games in a row or something when they started. They went a tremendous amount of time.
Yeah, there's a 30 for 30 on it. I want to say they lost close to 30 games in a row before they actually won. And they lost variety of ways. I mean, it was so bad. Those teams were just horrendously bad. But he also said we didn't move the ball well, and we made up for it by not stopping anybody either. So yeah, he was actually a funny guy. But those old school guys could never coach today. Bill Parcells could never coach today. Belichick at the end couldn't coach anymore because players didn't respond to it. And the problem is they've been coddled not only at the pro level, but from grade school up. These kids don't want to be told. And it's because at home, they're not disciplined. At home, they're not told what to do. And when they're great athletes, they go to school, they don't get told there. So when they get to the pros, they don't want to hear, well, you might not be the best at your position. And I think that's why a lot of them fail. And I think that's why a lot of problems are today, because guys don't work. There's so few guys that put in the effort to be great at their craft. Jeff, think about it. I bet you if we look at it, I wonder how many players in this league get second contracts from their original team.
Not many.
I guarantee you it's not many. I would tell you, I bet you the league average is less than 20% of all guys drafted by a team never get a second contract. Would you buy into that?
Yes, but I can't blame just the player in that instance.
Okay, who do you blame?
Well, I got to lay the blame evenly across the board, because if a player is going to get, say, they're up for a contract and they're going to get $20 million,
right?
Okay, and you say, well, $20 million is an acceptable pay for this guy, but now here comes another team and they'll turn around and say, well, we'll give him $25 million. Now you can't stop another team from coming out and doing what you're doing, what they do. And if they want that guy and they're saying, go out and get him at all costs, and you're like, it's not within your budget, or you're like, I'm just not going to pay this player that kind of money, but you will, well, then go ahead, take him. You want him, take him. And, there's the whole thing that, once again, I keep saying it to you when we talk about it. Look at Brock Osweiler. Mm-hmm. He played a couple games in Denver, and he ended up getting a massive contract out of it.
No, listen, I agree. I think there are certain positions that get overpaid regularly. That's one: corners, defensive ends, because guys are trying to find lightning in a bottle and trying to get the next great one. Of those are positions they put a premium on. But I'm with Frank Jeffrey to a certain extent. I blame the CBA, and that's the contract that the players basically, listen, the owner signed it, but they don't want to practice. They don't want to practice hard. You can't wear pads. You can't play. To me, it goes back to what I talk about all the time with pitchers. Guys don't throw anymore. When we were kids, we threw the ball every day. When you came out of work, your arms didn't get strong. I think the same thing for football. When you don't hit every day, your muscles don't get used to it, and you get a lot more injuries from it. And I not that I think that, I'm not saying you should kill guys the way they did back then, but I don't see why they can't do 2 a days. These guys are great athletes, better athletes than these guys were in the 70s and 80s and 90s. And these guys can't practice more than once a day. They can't wear pads more than once a couple times a week. To me, it's, again, pussification of sports. But the CBA and all the rules that they've put into it now have ruined the game. Listen, the first month of the season is training, is all practice games. I don't care if anybody tells me.
I agree with all of that to an extent. Okay, but who put the CBA in?
I'm with you. I'm with you. Yeah, no, I'm with you. The owners agreed to it. The players.
If I know that you have a team, okay, and here's a good example. Saquon Barkley was on the Giants.
Yep.
Okay, they didn't want to pay him the money that he was looking for, but Philadelphia took a chance.
Yeah.
Now, maybe Philadelphia bought a broken player. They won't know until later on this season when he starts playing. Was he snake bit with injuries the first couple years with the Giants? Or is that the player that he is? Somebody that gets hit and, or hurts himself, pulls a muscle, whatever, and then he's out for most of the season. Time will tell with that. And will Philadelphia end up regretting ever signing him?
Listen, I think ultimately it will. They have to strike this year with that team because this team has to win this year. I think with their salary cap, with all the stuff they have, with all the players, they have to win this year. If they don't, that coach is gone, and they will have to tear that team apart somehow. And they will. But Matt, I tell you what, the other team I would not be shocked if they were number one is the Patriots. I think the Patriots might have the number one pick in the draft next year. I don't think they have a quarterback on their roster. I don't think they have a lot of talent. I'm not sure about that coaching staff, and everything that I've read is that there's a lot of dysfunction up there. And I think after 20-something years of being top flight, they haven't figured out how to do things non-Bill Belichick way. And until they figure out what their new style is, that team's good. That team may not win more than 3 games in a season for the next couple of years.
Well, you know what, Tom? How are you supposed to get used to it when you've had the guy for how long, doing everything for the team, winning, and the success that he's had? How do you compare any coach to him?
No, it's not comparing anybody to him. You shouldn't have to compare him.
I understand what you're saying, but it's the point that, if you've been doing something for 20 years in this spot and you were from day one coming into place, you were successful. Yeah. Now somebody else comes in. There's going to be a learning curve, a learning process.
100%. I agree with you.
There's no way under the sun is it fair to any coach, no matter who it is, to go up to New England and just compare by saying, they're having a hard time up here.
I agree. I agree. I listen, you're going to tear it down. You're going to rebuild it. The problem is you're going to be bad doing it because they don't have a lot of talent. They don't have a system right now that I could see they're trying to go. I would think they're going to go completely against whatever Belichick was doing because it didn't work the last couple of years because the players stopped buying into it. When the leadership of that team left, when the Vrabels and the Bradys and the like, when they left and they weren't buying in, people didn't buy into Belichick anymore. And the minute they didn't buy into Belichick, the system didn't work. Now you're right. Nobody should go up there and be compared to Bill's record because to me that's impossible. But it's going to take time. That's why I think they may be the worst team in the league. It's going to be a fight match, right? But I think, I don't know yet, Frankie. I don't know what to expect of the Giants. Here's the one thing with the Giants. Every time there's no expectations, they have a great season. 2 years ago, everybody said they're going to finish 4th, and they're going to be horrendous. They're going to have the number 1 pick in the draft. They want to win in 10 games, 11 games, beating the Vikings in the playoffs, and having a pretty good season. Last year, everybody said, okay, we're going to build on that. They're going to be a better team. They sucked. So I don't know what the Giants are going to be right now. I would tell you, I don't think they're going to be the worst. I don't think they're going to be the best. I do believe that they will challenge for a playoff spot in December. I don't know if they're going to get to the Broncos. I don't know. I think they'll be better, but I still think that's a tough division.
I got to do something real quick.
I believe the Broncos will be 3rd best team in that division. I think I'm not sure what the Chargers are. I'm not sure what the Raiders are. any one of those teams can finish second, third, or fourth. I think the Broncos are the third place team. I don't hold out high expectations. I still believe the Chiefs are the best team in that division, and I think San Diego with Harbaugh will be number 2, and then it'll be a fight for third. I'm not sure what the Raiders are with that. With Minshew, Aiden O'Connell, I'm not sure how good they're going to be. I don't know if they're going to have what's his name, the receiver at any point this year. I think at some point Devontae Adams might get traded, and then that team plummets. But we'll see. I'm not sure if I can tell you that the Giants will be better or the Broncos will be better than each other. I think the Giants have a better chance of being better only because I think the Giants division might not be as good as people think it is. I do think the AFC West is going to be a good division. I don't know if anybody agrees. Frankie, Matt, anybody agree with that? I don't know, but I think it's going to be fun. I look forward to this year because I think there's going to be a lot of changes. I think I'm rooting for the Lions this year again because I want to see them in the Super Bowl. People like the Bears. I gotta see it to believe it. The Packers could be better. Was it a one-off with that season? I don't know. I think that's a division to watch this year. I think the AFC North is a division to watch. What are the Steelers? I think the Steelers are going to be terrible this year. I don't like either quarterback. I don't think the Steelers are better. If Burrow stays healthy, they should be the best team in that division. What are the Ravens? We'll dig into it more next week, but we'll do a big breakdown of the league. But I think there's a very interesting football season. The Cowboys have a lot of stuff going on. CeeDee Lamb's contract, Micah Parsons' contract, obviously Dak's contract. Is Dak done up there? How does he handle it? How many years can that team go to the well of winning 10, 11, 12 games and then, get blown out in the playoffs? To me, this is a very interesting season. At some point, the Chiefs have to take a step back. It's just natural. I've never seen anybody else do it but the Patriots. So can the Chiefs have another one of those seasons where they're kind of mediocre and turn it on at the end of the year? I don't know. It's going to be interesting seasons. Again, some teams I want to see. I want to see what the Bears are with Caleb Williams and the new receiver. I want to see what the Broncos do. I don't think the Redskins are going to be any good. I don't like Jane Daniels. Minnesota, what does Minnesota turn into this year? Minnesota's an interesting team. They got one of the best receivers in the league, but Sam Darnold's his quarterback. So do the Giants get an opening day win because they're facing Sam Darnold, or is he finally coached up by that kid up there, and turns into a decent quarterback and wins some games up there? I don't think they have a chance. I think they're the worst team in that division. I think the Lions, Packers, Bears, and then Vikings. That's how that division plays out. But there's a lot of interesting divisions this year. I don't know if there's a clear-cut number one team, Jeff. I mean, I think the Lions are still the best team in the NFC. And in the AFC, it's the Chiefs until somebody dethrones them. I think the Jets have an opportunity to step into that role. I believe the Dolphins do also. I also continue to believe in the Bengals. So I don't know how you feel.
Well, I think that, we're going to see if the Lions were a fluke last year or if they still have it, if they could advance.
Yeah.
I think I think the whole NFC North is going to be a better division than it was last year overall. I think Chicago got better. I think Green Bay is kind of leveled out. I think they know who they are. The Lions, they weren't a bad team. They were a very good team last year. I would love to see the Lions be successful again this year.
Yeah, me too.
The Jets, I'm sorry, man. I can't say anything about the Jets until after the fact and when I see it happening.
No, I get you, but listen, potential. I don't think Buffalo's better. Buffalo, they get rid of good pieces of their defense. Diggs is gone. I think Buffalo takes a step back. I think it's the Jets. Again, all health being the same. They lost. The Bills lost Milano for I think for the year.
I don't think for the year. I think he's going to be back.
Okay,
I know he got injured.
Yeah. So to me, I think the one thing I'd say is I think if you came down to it, I think the Jets have an edge in quarterback, and I think they have an edge in defense. I think Miami is got a lot of firepower, and they could win that division. It's Jets, Miami in the 1-2 hole, and then to me it's Buffalo and the Patriots. Buffalo can win. They got Josh Allen. There's a chance to win, but their time was 2 years ago. They have not built that team to win right now. So
The Bills.
yeah, I think the Bills are.
Yeah, no, I think the Bills slipped.
Yeah, for sure. That's why I think the Jets have a great chance. Now,
But
the
I will
AFC.
say with Josh Allen, though, I wouldn't count them out.
No, you can't. No, you're absolutely right. You cannot count the Bills out because of Josh Allen. I'm with you. The problem is there isn't easy wins in that division above them. Like in the past, the Jets haven't been good. The Patriots have been the last few years. The Dolphins are sketchy. The Dolphins and the Jets are better. So you're not getting easy wins in your own division anymore. So you're not coming out of there winning 5 games in your division alone. You know, again, a lot's going to depend on the other divisions. I think the AFC West has at least 2, maybe 3 good teams. You know, so I think it's going to be tough. I think, you know, there's a lot of questions, which is always good because I don't think there's a dominant team, but, you know, Lions, 49ers, Chiefs. I'm throwing the Jets in there. I do believe the Jets are going to have a 10, 12 win season and will make a run this year. I do. Again, health-wise is a different story. And I like the Dolphins. I do. The problem for the Dolphins, I love the Dolphins early, but when it gets later in the year, they slow down a little bit and they do not play well in cold weather. You know, that was evident last year. They need to play better in cold weather. They need to be able to run the ball better because they're going to have to come up unless they win the division or get home field. You know, when they come up north and they have to play in Buffalo or in Kansas City in the cold, then I don't like the Dolphins. Frankie, sorry, that's the way I see it. Well, if they had to come up and play the Jets, you know, in January in New York or in New Jersey, I don't like the Dolphins in that game. They're high flying, throw the ball, get those guys out there running, and I think the Jets have the Jets are right up there with the defense, with their defense this year. But they've been remarkably healthy, Jeff. So is this the year that Sauce Gardner twists an ankle, or Quentin Williams pulls a hamstring or an oblique? You know,
I hope not, man.
No, to me either. To be honest with you, I want to see 2 good New York teams. Like I pray for that. I think it'd be fun to be here, you know, in December, and you know the Jets have 10 wins and the Giants have 8 wins, and they both have a shot at the playoffs. And there's the remote chance that we're going to see them get deep. I mean, I can't remember the last time it's happened, and I think it's good.
That long ago.
Yeah. Yeah. So that to me that would be fun. I don't know. Again, the Jets have a big problem on the offensive line. The Giants, I think the defensive, the secondary is weak. It may come together, but it's got a lot of young talent out there that I have not seen play real well so far. I love the Giants front 7. Their defensive line and linebackers, I think, are great. They may be top 5, top 7 in the league and up front, but in the back end, they're not great. And the offensive line's it's been good, looks good in the preseason, but I got to see it in the regular season, and I got to see Daniel Jones play better than he did last week.
Here's a problem that nobody's mentioned much, and it happened.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised that nobody at all has mentioned it, and that is that the Giants were actively looking to replace, it seemed, Daniel Jones. And now Daniel Jones is either fucking retarded and brain dead, or they said, like, you know, don't say anything. Nobody questions that move. Daniel Jones isn't allowed to be upset. The Giants don't seem like they're behind their man. How does that make Jones feel? You know, like, is he on borrowed time? Is he playing for another team, you know, this year, like auditioning? So he's not like Zach Wilson next year?
Well, I'll tell you what, I do think you're wrong a little bit. I listened to a lot of talk radio, Brian Dable, even Jones himself. He was asked a bunch of times, you know, did you watch Hard Knocks? What did you think when, you know, Joe Shane and Dable were talking about moving up in the draft to take a quarterback? Dable came out and said, listen, we always talk about bettering our team and the future. So, you know, that question's been out there, and it's been answered by all parties.
So they said we always think about bettering our team for the future. Mm-hmm. Okay, Daniel Jones is only 27 years old. He is the future. you can have 10 years with Daniel Jones if he's a good quarterback. And here they are saying that they're looking to better the team for the future. I mean, if I said to you, like, I'm going to talk to somebody else and we're going to do this show on Wednesdays, but I got a better alternative than you're going to turn around and say, well, what's the matter with me? Why all of the hate on me? And Daniel Jones didn't ask this question and be like, well, what's the matter with me? How come I'm not the future? Why aren't you getting me pieces to protect me to see if I'm the future? I'll say that much about the Giants.
Well, I think that's what the ultimate decision was. They said, do we replace Daniel Jones or do we bring him in pieces and try to make him better? And I think the only thing that was the recurring theme was Daniel's a good player. He just can't stay healthy. And if he can't stay healthy, then it doesn't. Then none of it's going to work. But they went and said, "Okay, screw it. We're not going to make the trade up. We're going to stay where we are, and we're going to draft him better pieces, fix the offensive line, and try to make him better." Is he going to be? I don't know. I've seen enough of Daniel Jones to say I think he's a competent NFL quarterback that you can win with enough pieces around him. Do they have enough pieces? I don't know. Can he stay healthy?
Let me ask you something.
Yep.
Okay. And this is dead serious. Okay. Because you said on more than one occasion that he's a competent NFL quarterback.
Yes, I believe he's a competent NFL quarterback. Yes.
You need more than competent. I mean, Gardner Minshew was a competent NFL quarterback. Nick Foles was a competent NFL quarterback. Some of these other guys that are playing in the league now are competent NFL quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Nobody is going to straddle them to a team and make it a long-term alternative. And is that where Daniel Jones falls?
I don't know. Again, you mentioned Nick Foles. They won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles. I'm not. Again,
was that Nick Foles or was that the team?
Well, let me ask you a question. So, would you say who's a better quarterback, Dak Prescott or Daniel Jones?
Well, let's put it this way. I don't know who the better quarterback is. One's in the league a lot longer. They each have their share of issues. If I was asked to take one of them for my team, I would go with Dak Prescott.
Okay.
More accomplished quarterback.
Not disagreeing. How many Super Bowls has he won? How many Super Bowls has he been to? None.
None.
Right. So
most of the league, Tom, when you think about this, okay, I know where you're going to go with this. Every year in the league, there's 30 starting quarterbacks that do not go to the Super Bowl.
I agreed 100%. But what I say is, I'm not going by 1 year. If you're in the league 6, 8, 10 years, and you haven't been there yet, what does that make you? Does that make you are you not a competent quarterback, or are you still a competent quarterback and you don't have enough pieces? Like, I've seen enough of Daniel Jones in his rookie year. There's been even 2 years ago, he threw for 3,000 plus yards. He had 22 or 24 combined touchdowns. He cut down the interceptions. I saw enough to say, okay, now who's he throwing the football to? Who was blocking for him? The Giants gave up 73 sacks last year. It was the most in the league. Is it his fault? Tommy DeVito's fault? Whoever played quarterback? So there's a lot that goes into it. When I say competent, is if he's a competent quarterback, he can make the throws, he can run the football, he can make plays, and if you give him some talent and you block for him, he'll win you football games. That's a competent NFL quarterback. Doesn't mean he's winning the Super Bowl for you, but that means he's a competent quarterback, and you can win and play games with guys like Kirk Cousins are competent quarterbacks. And obviously, how many great quarterbacks are there? I don't know. Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, who else? Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. So how many Super Bowls has Josh Allen been to? The guy's the second best quarterback in the league since he's been here.
I understand that, but Josh Allen is also in the league a handful of years, and he's been near the top every year.
100%. In there. But it has not. But having a great quarterback,
and I know which way you're going with that one too. But then you could turn around and say, Aaron Rodgers won Super Bowl, Drew Brees won Super Bowl,
right.
Peyton Manning. How many Super Bowls has Peyton Manning actually been to? 3, and he was in the league, one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Right.
There's only been one Tom Brady.
Yeah.
I'm saying there's only one Tom Brady that's been,
Agreed.
To so many different championships and division titles and everything else. So if you compare any quarterback to Tom Brady, you're looking at is competent the word to use to anybody that you compare to Tom Brady.
Yeah. all I say is, I think that Daniel Jones is an elite quarterback where you step on the field and you know that he's going to do certain things like Brady and Manning's and Roethlisberger? No. Do I think he's Sam Darnold? I do not. Do I think he falls in the middle there? Yeah, I think there's a lot of Daniel Joneses running around this league right now. Do I think the Giants can win games with him? Yes. Can they win a playoff game with him? Yes.
If you put it in that perspective, then the league is full of quarterbacks like Daniel Jones.
Absolutely. Of course, that's exactly my point.
Okay.
There are a ton of football players.
They're not because why?
Yeah.
Because I feel as though that a quarterback, just to name a few, okay, Jared Goff is a better quarterback than Daniel Jones. Is he an elite quarterback? No. Okay. I don't think that Herbert from the Chargers is an elite quarterback. Right. I think that he is in the league with Daniel Jones. He just happens to throw for a lot of yards. I don't think he's one of the better quarterbacks in the league. I just don't.
Yeah, I'm just saying this. Tell me the guys who are elite quarterbacks in this league right now. Guys that you would say I could put up there in yesteryear with the great ones. I could throw out there with any team and they'd be great. How many guys are that way? 5?
Right now in the league?
5?
Well, that's pretty much general every year.
Right, but that's my point.
We had this same discussion just a few years back. It seems like forever.
Yeah.
Who's going to replace the 5 guys that are not immortal, the top of the heap, the greatest quarterbacks in the NFL now? Who's going to replace Brady? Who's going to replace Breeze and Roethlisberger? Well, guess what? They're replaced.
Right,
because there is somebody that's in the top 5.
I got it. But are those guys? But there's a difference.
Burrow.
Right, but so let's go. Mahomes, I'm gonna keep Rodgers in there until he falls apart. Rodgers, Mahomes, Allen. I'll throw Burrow into that mix. Okay, so there's 4. After that, you got a bunch of guys who are competent NFL quarterbacks: Cousins, Herbert, Trevor Lawrence. Right down the line. Then you got your bottom feeders. You got your Gardner Minshew's of the world, Jacoby Brissett's, guys who start games.
You know what you're saying? Gardner Minshew. Okay.
Sam Darnold.
I highly doubt he's ever going to come out and win anything. Okay, anything serious. But every time they need him, he's competent.
Yes,
he wins. He does. He keeps his team competitive.
Listen, they win a game or 2.
The division and win playoff games, Tom. But when was the last time that you seen Gardner Minshew come out on the field and he's an automatic loss?
Jeff, quite a bit. I guarantee you, if you go back and you look up his starting record, it ain't impressive.
I'm sure it sucks.
Yeah,
but he was asked to be a fill-in. He was never had his own team.
But that's my point. So again, he can't be a competent NFL quarterback if you're not asking him to be the everyday guy and win games. So he's a bottom feeder. Sam Darnold's a bottom feeder. These are guys that you have no choice and you throw them out there. Then Frankie Burb, a good point. You got the Tuas of the world, guys who are competent NFL quarterbacks that you're not sure every week what you're going to get. There's Kirk Cousins. Get Jared Goff. I'll move him up. Do I count him?
I'm sorry. I'm hung up on Minshew right now. Okay, I can't let this go very easily. Did you know? I'm going to tell you something. This is his as a starter backup. Okay, touchdowns: 21, 16, 4, 3, and 15. The year he threw 4 touchdowns, he had 439 yards. The year he threw 3 touchdowns, he had 663 yards. His interceptions. You ready for this? Okay. 6, 5, 1, 3, and 9. He's never once got into double digits.
Okay. How many pass attempts did he have those years?
Pass attempts: 470, 327, 60, 76, and last year 490.
Okay, so he's had 3 years where he's had what we would call considerable passes. Again, I'm not telling you that he's a terrible quarterback.
And he's only, and I'm not, Tom, I'm not trying to argue and say that he's the greatest quarterback in the league. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying how sometimes somebody's competent, okay, and they're overlooked. He started 14 games in 2019 and 13 games in 2023.
And how many teams has he been on? Just give me that one.
3.
Okay, so my point of it is there are guys, Andy Dalton, there are guys who float around the league, Sam Darnold, who float around, and they're competent quarterbacks where you could say, throw them out there and they'll have a chance to win your games. They may not win your games, but they'll give you an opportunity. Jacoby Brissett, they're bottom feeders. They're guys who bounce around the league, and they are competent for a game or two. They'll shock the crap out of you once in a while, but you're not. So there's two levels right there. There's the top guys, maybe there's 5 of them, and then there's a bunch of bottom feeders, and then there's a bunch of guys in the middle who are competent NFL quarterbacks. Dak, Tua, Justin Herbert at this point, Trevor Lawrence. There's a bunch of those guys in there that are just, in the middle. I don't know what Justin Fields is yet. I don't know what Caleb Williams is yet, or Jaden Daniels.
Whoa. Justin Fields is a bust.
Right. So, but where does Lamar Jackson fall? The guy's a 2-time MVP. Is he in the top 5? To me, he's not.
No. I would consider what me and you and some others will consider Lamar Jackson is not what Lamar Jackson is. To me, I would say Lamar Jackson is probably a top 15 quarterback in the NFL.
Yes.
More towards the 15.
Yes, I agree.
But
I would agree 100%.
He was able to do something that others have not been able to do as a quarterback. He ran for a lot of yards, and he was successful at it.
Absolutely. Wins games doing it, but doesn't win playoff games, doesn't win big games.
No, it don't.
Right.
It don't.
Right. So all I'm saying with Daniel Jones, and my point is, he falls into that category at this moment as a guy who's competent. He's won a playoff game. He's had good seasons. He just hasn't strung enough of them together to be in that talk of the top 10, 15 guys yet. He's not at the bottom where you go, you put him out there and he's going to lose. You don't feel that way. To me, it's more, I'm afraid every time he gets hit, is he going to get up? That's my fear.
Lamar Jackson?
No, I'm talking about Daniel Jones.
Oh, Daniel Jones, yeah.
Yeah. So to me, it's not about his ability. It's more about whether he'll play every game or not. So at the end of the day, if you look up some of these guys, like people talk all the time about Eli threw a lot of interceptions. Go look how many interceptions Peyton Manning threw. You'd be surprised by it. But that doesn't bother me as much as how much a guy shows up every week. That's the problem I have with Daniel Jones. Show up every week. And if you play every game and you throw for 3,500, 4,000 yards, and you got 25 combined touchdowns, and your team is winning 7 or 8 games, 10 games, you're in the playoff hunt, you're a good quarterback, you're a competent quarterback. But I haven't seen that yet. But I'm putting him in there because I've seen enough of it. Doesn't mean he's elite.
Write this down, okay? Peyton, 250 interceptions.
Okay.
17 years in the league.
Okay.
And 539 touchdowns.
Yeah, one of the top all time.
Well, I'm gonna look up Eli.
Yeah, look up Eli.
Which I don't think is right to compare the two of them. To be honest with you, I just don't think it's right.
If everybody thinks that the great ones didn't throw a lot of interceptions, they did. They threw the ball a ton of time, and there's a lot of interceptions. I bet you
Eli has 244.
So he actually has less than his brother. But people will tell you
366, but he also played 15 years, two years less.
Right.
But he was also an Iron Man too. So
yeah. So to me, I get it. But so when people talk about interceptions, you could throw a lot of interceptions, but Peyton threw a lot of touchdowns. So it didn't really matter. He was a great quarterback, one of the best ever. But I don't necessarily put all that in it because it ain't like years ago where guys were 20 of 27 for 260 yards. These guys are throwing the ball 40 times. Bad things happen when you throw the football. More bad than good. The only good that happens is catch the ball. Everything else is you drop it, there's penalties, there's interceptions. There's too many bad things that happen when you throw a football. And when you throw the ball 40 and 50 times a game, people are going to catch the ball on the other side. It just happens.
But that's why these people are called gunslingers.
Exactly. And that's the difference.
And I think that you could put Peyton Manning in the same league as Brett Favre.
Yeah. No. Peyton Manning.
You live by the arm, you die by the arm.
I agree. Peyton Manning was one of those guys. Like if to me, it's Elway, it's Marino, it's Peyton. Obviously, it's Brady. If you give me my top 10, I kind of got to throw Bradshaw and Starbuck into those. Those guys were in there. Marino. Those guys were the greats. Those guys are on the Mount Rushmore. They're in the elite
I
category.
understand that, but you're also talking about somebody, for his career, 17 years, 3 Super Bowls.
Right. No, I get it.
And 2 of them were at the end of his career.
But again, is that terrible that he made the 3? I mean, if I
When
look
you
up
play 17 years and you only get to 3 of them, it's not good.
No, I agree. But okay, you're a big Drew Brees fan. How many Super Bowls did he go to? 1.
Only 1.
Right. To me, it doesn't diminish the skill and how well he played. I would say when I start putting him in order, I got to go, he was great, but he only went to 1 Super Bowl. So it kind of pulls him back from the pack of, but then again, I can say the same thing about Marino. He made 1, lost it. Elway made it to 5, but he lost 3 of them. He got brutally beaten in 2 of those. So
through Namath in where?
No.
Somebody said, no, of course not. Come on.
Joe Namath won the biggest game of all time because it meant so much.
You put Namath in the same pile as you put guys like what's his face, Stabler.
Yeah, that's good. Stabler, Greasy.
Yeah,
that's a great comparison. Yes, that is the era of he had a ton of talent, too many injuries, too many interceptions. Go back and look. I think he threw more interceptions than touchdowns for his career. Namath.
Who? Namath?
Yeah.
Yeah, Namath. Don't even, let's put it this way. Don't even look at his fucking stats.
Yeah.
Because you look at them, you're going to be like, this guy wasn't that good.
Yeah, honestly, truly. But again, there's the eye test. No, if I talk to my uncle or my dad, they'll tell you how great a quarterback he was based on his arm and the things he could do.
But when he played, it was a completely different game.
100%. And also,
I guarantee you, and I know Frank Jeffrey, if he's still around, he's going to say no. And you may say no to an extent. But if you would have watched a game that Joe Namath played back then, I bet you would find it kind of boring compared to today's football.
Oh, absolutely. I've watched. They showed them now, and I remember those games.
And also, you're talking about a guy when he played, he was allowed to get hit. All of the quarterbacks nowadays,
sure,
you can't hit him. Like you practically have cops on the sideline.
Go look at the hits Ben Davidson hit Joe Namath with. I mean, basically punching him in the face, slamming him to the ground. I mean, listen, yeah, you're 100% right. It's a different game. I would say Namath is one of those guys who's lived on myth. He won, the guarantee. They went out and beat the mighty Baltimore Colts, a team that there was a ton of Hall of Famers, a Hall of Fame coach, and they went out and won that game. And, he sat there and said, screw you guys, we're going to win it. And he went out and then they did. And he lives on that. But if you look at Joe Namath's career, you'd go, Jesus Christ, he's a Hall of Famer.
500 record.
Yeah.
More interceptions than touchdowns.
Yeah. Again, to me, Joe Namath is all myth. And, again, he's a legend because of the game. But his stats, his rest of his career, it's pedestrian. Completely pedestrian.
Once again, you're also talking about a guy that played when a running back was a
weapon.
Big position.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Not like it is now.
No, it's again totally different game. Frankie, Jim Kelly. My problem with Jim Kelly is I think Jim Kelly's a great quarterback. I fall a little short of him being a Hall of Famer. They threw the ball a ton of times, and he never came up big in those big games. He never went out there and had the huge game. And there's a really good receiving core with Andre Reed, James Lofton, Thurman Thomas has his back, and a great defense. You got to win one of those. It kind of takes it down a notch. And I got to be honest with you, if he's a Hall of Famer, which he is, I think Phil Simms was every bit the quarterback he was. Simms played in a different system. He didn't throw the ball 40 times a day in a game back in those days. So, but Jim Kelly's a Hall of Famer. I'm not going to argue it, but I struggle with him as a Hall of Famer. I think he was a really good quarterback. Obviously, 4 Super Bowls means a lot, but he needed to step up and have big games, and one of them.
Is he the only guy? One of the only. Well, let me put it this way: is he one of the only players to go to 4 Super Bowls, regardless of whether nobody's ever won 4 Super Bowls in a row? But is he one of the only guys that's ever gone to 4 Super Bowls in a row?
Yeah, I think so. Well, I don't. I mean, obviously the other players on his team, there's a bunch of those guys that did it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I don't think. First off, there's never been a team that's gone 4 times in a row after that or before that. Teams have gone 3 times, I think. I think the Dolphins went 3 times in a row, if I'm not mistaken. But no, I don't know if there's many players. There's players who've won 5 and 6 Super Bowls, but I don't think anybody's gone to 4 in a row. Yeah, no, I don't think so. So no,
like that alone is an accomplishment. To get to. There's been guys that have gone to 4 World Series, 4 NBA,
sure,
4 Stanley Cups.
Yeah. No, I would tell you that being in multiple Super Bowls in your career is an accomplishment because there's still teams that have never been there. The Lions have never been.
Well, I'm trying to figure out Frankie's comment. What's the Dallas beat Washington, beat Minnesota, but I don't understand it, Frankie. What does that mean?
Well, I think he's saying they went 3 times. They went 3 times. They won 2 and they lost 1. I think it was Frankie. Yeah,
Dallas went 4 years in a row.
I don't think Dallas. No, he's saying that the Dolphins went there 3 times in a row. I think they were 72, 73, 74.
Yeah, 3 is less than 4, bro.
Yeah.
Who else has gone 4 in a row? That was
that's it. Again, to me, it's quite the accomplishment. So I won't knock it. To win,
you can't.
Yeah, I mean, winning your division 4 times in a row is a lot. Winning your conference or getting to a championship game 4 times in a row is a lot. Going to the Super Bowl 4 times in a row is amazing, but you got to play big in one of those games. And to me, Jim Kelly never played big in any of those games. That's the problem I have with Jim Kelly's career. But listen, we would have won 75 if it wasn't for a legal forward pass. Listen, Frankie, I'm with you. It's all very possible. But we got to wrap it up, guys. It's 9:20.
That's almost 50 years ago, man. Frankie, you need therapy, bro. It's time to let it go. It's time to let it go, man.
Listen, it's going to be interesting. Next week, we'll get into a lot more football. We'll do the draft. We'll do our draft, and then we'll spend the whole show kind of going over each division. Football's 2 weeks away.
And now it's pile on Frank Jeffrey. That ain't right, man.
It's not right. But we'll end it right here. It's been a great show, Frankie. I did get Frank Catalano. I got your Zelle. Thank you very much. In the meantime, thank you all for tuning in and sticking with us 2.5 hours tonight. We have it's been a great show, and I really do appreciate everybody coming down and hanging with us. We'll get to do this all over again next week. Remember, Jeff's going to be playing at the Richmond County Fair, right? Which day you play, Jeff?
The 31st. August 31st. Yep. It's next Saturday, not this Saturday, next Saturday. And then September 28th, a new band is launched.
Oh my God. Oh, that's the new one you were telling me about?
Yeah.
Nice.
Middle-aged delinquents.
Wow, look at this. Middle-aged delinquents. All right.
Look at this. Due to the fact that my wife does not know who is in this band, I cannot divulge who is in this band just yet.
Okay.
But I think after tomorrow, she was invited to come down to band practice. Be good, Frank.
See you, Frank.
To come to band practice, so I don't know if she's coming tomorrow night, but we'll find out tomorrow. And if she does, then the cat will be out of the bag.
All right. Well, listen, we're looking forward to hearing it. September 28th, right around my birthday, so maybe I'll have to come out to a show to celebrate my birthday with my buddy and hear his new band. We'll see. But please go to Richmond County Fair August 31st to see all the great bands, and including 25 Missions and the Grazianos and Jeff. They do a great job, and you'll love the set. So make sure you get out there and support that. In the meantime, guys, we're going to wrap this up here. I thank you all for tuning in tonight. It's been a great show. I went off script, and we just kind of winged it, and I think this was a really good show. So I'm pretty pumped up about it. So
the problem with tonight's show is we spent way too much time on that other sport.
Baseball?
Yeah, there you go.
Well, listen.
4th of July baseball means nothing until the World Series.
Well, I think it's there was some relevant stuff, and I got some more stuff I'll hold on to for next week.
All the Met fans, that's when they start to bail because their team goes from World Series champion to also ran losers.
Like the Broncos in January.
Oh boy!
Hey, he's been tearing me apart about Daniel Jones.
I know. He takes it good. He gives a lot of it though.
Oh no, Frankie's good at giving it, so I had to get a little bit back. So anyway, But in the meantime, let's call it a night. I do have to get up for work tomorrow, so let me go get to it. In the meantime, thank you all for tuning in tonight. It's been a blast, and we look forward to doing it next Thursday night again with you. And all through the football season, here it goes, folks. That's when the show kicks off. So here we go. Have a great night, a great rest of your week, a great weekend, and a great next week. And hopefully you guys come on back next Thursday night, watch our draft, and we'll get into it tonight. So for Jeff and myself and everybody here at Hard Rocket Sports, we say thank you. Have a great week, and we'll see you next Thursday night on the Hard Rocket Sports Show. I'll talk to you after, pal.
Yeah.
Well, go
end the show. I want to talk to you real quick about something.
okay, let me end the stream and stay on the air. Good night, Frank.